It's Wednesday, everybody, and it's Collider Live. We're back. We made it. We survived. And here we are again, talking about things. And joining me, as always, is the wonderful Roxy Stryer. Hello, Roxy. How are you?
Thought you were going to do that swerve thing where you said to other people and not me, even though you were looking at me.
Like I tell my daughter, don't play out the joke and be an open micer, and I don't want to do that today. So it's nice to see you. How are you?
Nice to see you too, Christian.
I like the shirt.
I said that to you when you walked in. Why do you always wait to compliment me till we're on air?
Because it doesn't count if nobody else can hear it.
All right.
The tree falls in the forest and no one's around.
That's right. And yeah, I'm wearing a shirt honoring the greatest, the latest superstar, and that is, oh yeah, dig it, brother, Mr. Macho Man Randy Savage. Rest in peace, my brother.
Yeah.
And joining us today is the outlaw John Rocco, who recently announced on the undercard of Houston.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, suck it, Kalinowski. We're going to Houston.
You're going to Houston. We don't know against who yet. But
I don't know.
The undercard right now of the Bateman and Guy match, and the Founding Fathers will be in Houston.
Roxy got something
What's
to say.
right? You don't like that?
No, I do like that.
But-
I'm stuck on what is implied by, like, if Josh McCougar was sitting here, is he upset with just suck it?
Oh.
Like, is something else implied, that, or, like, what are we talking about?
I think because
Kalinowski made a comment on Facebook going, I don't understand why they get a live event, the Founding Fathers, when Team Corruption has a better record, blah, blah, blah. So people have been commenting. So that's my joke. Because we know each other for years, Callie.
I completely understand your joke,
saying-
as I am a joke maker as well.
the tone of suck it, though. Why can't
Yeah, like, why can't I? So can I start bringing back suck it?
Of course. Suck it is. Yeah, because there's nothing
But what's
really
implied?
You don't really know.
You don't know.
Yeah,
Suck a lemon?
I'm not saying an appendage.
No.
I'm just saying
suck a
suck it in
lemon,
general.
suck an egg, suck
All
a
right, so
shoe,
maybe I
Suck that
switch
fact.
it.
suck an old alarm clock.
Suck that truth.
That is
Suck a toaster.
That's Sean X-Pac Waltman, so maybe
Oh, it
that's
is.
what I do. Maybe suck it is
Right.
my new thing.
Yeah.
And then if
Yeah,
I ever
that's
get
better.
crap
I
from
think
Makuga, I say I'm talking about carrots.
Yes. There you go. See,
Thank
we
you.
figured it out.
Or it's a free country.
for
and you
eyesight.
can just say what you
Thank
want.
you, Roka.
That-
You just solved the dilemma. Where were you 2 months ago?
Well, you know.
Could have helped us out here. Mark Riley is here.
Hi, how are you?
Good. The mood seems good today.
Well, yeah.
Okay. You were in
Fucking deal.
Yeah.
The mood wasn't great yesterday.
No, it wasn't. Don't get it back
Fucking big deal.
Exactly. You want this again?
No.
I'm ready for a new soundbite.
No,
No,
I'm kidding. Speaking of new sound bites.
Jesus.
No. my friends from St. Roberts. St. Roberts was where I went to grammar school from like 1st to 8th grade, right?
Shout out.
And it was it to me was, I always call it my first comedy school. That's where I learned. I don't know if I
where you
learned anything.
practice jokes.
I learned nothing about history and math. I learned everything about how you can rifle a fart off the back of a wooden chair.
Fair.
Shocking.
And that's where Samantha went, right?
Samantha, Vanessa, the whole
Vanessa,
crew.
all the squad.
The whole crew went there, and Matt Dillon.
Oh.
Yeah,
all my favorites. You're bringing it all back.
It's all. It's like we're going right back to 90210, and it. So we anyway. When I was one of the things that we would do, I terrorized my poor 8th grade teacher, Mr. Pirigo, rest in peace, and so many different things we used to do. He would scattered, right, and he would move back and forth, and we'd call it confusion. I'd call it confusion every time he would stop. He would be in the middle of a lesson. He'd go, and I'd scream out, "Confusion!" Right, and he would walk, and he'd walk by, and there was a flag there, and it would always hit him on the top of the head, and I'd go huff, and it meant head on flag, right? So every time, and he never understood what it was. Every time he would go by, the whole entire class, I got him going huff, and he never knew what it meant. But anyway,
You're the worst.
yeah, it was the worst. I got
Why
to laugh
am I
at it.
not surprised
I'm
in the
starting to see.
least?
Huff.
Why rest in
well,
peace?
we
I'm starting to
we
see
would
why.
start chants, and there was this book that we'd have, and it was called Moon Canyon. And so every time it was like, all right, everybody take out your Moon Canyon books, and everybody would go, Moon Canyon. And the one thing, I don't know where it came from, but my friend Brian Cashier, rest in peace, he passed away in 9/11. He was like my comedy buddy. He was the guy that had introduced me to George Carlin, all these things, and he and I were like the comedy duo. And he did, and I don't know where it came from, but he'd call somebody cheap, and he'd go, cheap, right? And that somehow then evolved into shape. And then everyone would go, shape! Scream it to this day, shape! Screaming it out. we were on the Q&A in New York, and my friends came a lot of them came from St. Roberts, and I'm in the middle of the Q&A, and I hear in the back, "Hey!" and I look out and I did it. And so my buddy Chris Mangachi today, he tags me on this soundbite of this sheep screaming.
It's a goat.
No, it's a sheep.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds like a sheep, all
It
right.
was a sheep. And he goes, "Bah." And I said that is an immediate soundbite, and so there you go.
Yeah, put it in the show.
Yeah, that's it. That's the show. Speaking of the show,
that picture you showed me was a sheep.
it was a sheep, a big ass sheep. I love it already.
What's a goat look like?
Not a sheep. I can tell
Have
you
you seen
that.
the
Look at
fainting
you.
goats?
It's thinner.
That
Yeah.
video.
This had a thin face.
Let me ask you a
A
question.
goat face.
I need to
That's-
ask you something very serious.
Oh no.
Did you make it here on time today?
Riley,
Okay.
You did?
Yes.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Can we?
proud.
Quite the accomplishment.
This is insane to me.
Here's
I
something.
know.
Here's
It's
something
mind-blowing.
But this
I
is
know.
something I legit want to do, and I'm going to talk to Makuga about this. I want you to pick up Makuga, because you live not too far away from each other, right?
I can't find him, but I know that he's close.
I want you to use. I want you to use.
He lives by me.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
no, I can't. I definitely can't find your place, and that has been made very apparent.
Here's what I want to do though. Wait, I
Wow.
want GPS goes. You can use it. You can use it to get Makuga. Once he gets in the car, he turns the camera on, and the GPS goes off.
And I have to go where?
Here.
I don't know how.
So who should I book
He's
that
gonna-
day?
I'll
Just in
tell-
case.
I'll tell you what I do know how to
He's
do.
going to
Get a
guide
pen.
you.
I can go from his place
Yes.
back down. I can go. Here's what I can do. I know how to get to some things.
Okay.
The
Like-
In-N-Out Burger.
Like,
the
I
bathroom.
could-
His place.
The In-N-Out burger.
No, she doesn't like cheese.
No, but I like In-N-Out.
Wait, do you live in Hollywood or in the Valley?
She doesn't know.
Neither, but I'm on the Hollywood side of the hill.
Okay.
I'm in like
We don't need to.
Yeah, you don't need specific.
Yeah.
But so you have an idea that there's an In-N-Out in Hollywood.
in Hollywood.
Sunset.
Yeah, I've
give
seen.
you-
I think I've seen that.
Or Arclight.
Massive.
This is
The
massively
ArcLight.
amazing.
Yeah, I know where the
Massive.
I know
Massive.
I know where the ArcLight is. I drive there a lot, and more importantly, my gym that I used to go to was at the ArcLight.
Yeah,
So I
24
tried to get
24.
there. Yeah, I
So-
switched.
Yeah,
So
I'm
go
fascinated
there
with this.
and you'll find
So I can't do that.
In-N-Out.
Okay, that's right. We're in now.
Yeah, you're going to pass it.
Well, I don't. I know how to get from Makuga's place. I can go down.
Oh, we go south.
Yeah, I can go south,
Okay,
and
we're
then I
going
could.
away from studio.
I could get on the 10.
By the way,
Farther
sorry,
away
I don't
from
mean to
studio.
cut you off. You just said something to me that made me.
Mad about
Yes. So
ArcLight?
well,
The gym?
Makuga's not here, so we won't talk about it in depth. And I'm also going on Steve Renazzisi's podcast a little later to talk about it. But the Bachelor finale was on last night, right?
Oh yeah.
And you were right. I heard. I only know that because tweets.
I was right. I was right.
And you're mad about that?
No. I won another $100 from Steve, so that'd be good. I'm cleaning that poor bastard out, but hey, look, he had the league on for years. But the thing was, they did this stupid thing where they had the Bachelorette. They announced who the Bachelorette was, and worst choice of all time. But then they had these five.
Who was it? Who'd they pick?
Oh, the
Demi?
and I know Hannah B. One
Hannah
of
B.
the one of the
Not Hannah G, but Hannah B.
yeah, is one. I don't know. One of the
I
what
have
do they
no
call these people? The
idea
pageant
who
girls.
this is.
It's
No idea.
and you never need to.
Okay.
She can't form a sentence. She giggles the whole damn time. I can't see why anybody would want this person as anything. But so
Giggling's cute.
then for a little bit.
If it's all you got.
you got to be able to say a sentence.
Right.
But anyway, they bring out these five dildo dudes, and the guy comes out. The guys come out and they walk out and they have to do their shtick in front of a live thing.
Oh, I hate
These are
that.
people who are going to be on her
see,
season.
They do that every year,
They
right?
started to. Not when I was there, they weren't doing this, but they were doing it now. And because I said, this is stupid. I said they're filling in time because they didn't know what to do because of the finale. And I won't get into depth on it. I just saw these guys, and so one guy starts rapping, and I immediately turned into Sebastian, the comedian, my friend, and I'm like, the guy's rapping, and this other guy says, I know that you're from South, but I'm just letting you know I've never been there, but I'm willing to go down south. And I go, and I go, I go, you're on live television. Stop it. look around.
I'm surprised they let him
you.
say that. It's ABC, right?
Yeah, because it's like because they've got a little risque.
Because it's kind of like
Yeah.
Suck It.
It
You
was-
don't know what is down
It
south.
was just embarrassing.
But are they feeding these guys these lines? I mean, are they doing the cheesy pickup lines like, "Hey, I've been trained by the government to smell out explosives. You're
but
dynamite."
the producers get. This is the thing that people don't realize for that show. People like the producers get very excited with themselves sometimes, and they go, "What if we made it? What if we make this guy dress up like a teddy bear?" And he goes out and he dances around. It's like as if he thought of it. It's like he didn't.
I did a reality show for 4 months, and that's what it's
That's what
like.
they do.
That's what the
I was
producers
on-
come
you
out
were
with.
on it?
Okay, yeah, I was
Really?
on it.
Which
Before-
producer?
It was old, way back in the
Producers.
days.
You're a producer on it.
No,
No,
I
he
was
was
I
on
was
it.
on it.
Oh.
This thing
Stop.
called
Elaborate.
Yeah, what was
thing
it?
called.
Show.
Do we have a clip of this?
Yeah.
If
It's
we can find
combat.
one.
It was called
Mr.
Combat
Personality?
It was
Was
called
that
Combat Missions on USA. It was
Can we find
right
this one?
after the first season of Survivor. That Navy Marine guy Rudy, they put him in charge of this camp, and we were coming out of Wind Talkers because I'd been
Yeah.
I watched this.
You did. I was the Shadow Squad. I was on the Shadow Squad.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I was those guys. They went up
Holy
against
shit.
the
Wait.
What a
I'm,
twist.
I'm still not understanding. So,
So what happened was
Rudy,
they brought in Rudy was in charge of this like camp they set up
Rudy.
in Victorville, and they brought in people from multiple areas of the law enforcement and the military, put them in squads, and then sent them out on missions to get points and things of that nature, so you could win by the end. And Rudy would decide, and then they'd send people home.
Can you find it on? Is it online?
I think so.
Please find
What is it called
was,
again?
I
forget.
Here,
Combat
I'm
missions.
just trying to find one with Roca in it.
Okay, cool. Cody's on.
did
it.
I don't
you
think
want
there's
to
one.
be on reality TV, or
No,
you
no, it
wanted
was.
to?
I would come in. I did Wind Talkers for like 6 months with John Woo directed, and I was on there with a technical advisor called Sergeant Jim Deaver. He took a liking to me because I was still new to LA. He took a liking to me. He's like, "Do you want to come on this reality show and
there you
get
go.
paid?" And they put us up. And they paid us a per diem,
There you
and
go.
they paid us salary, and they put us
Well,
up.
Roxy, I'm
and
going
we
to
got
blow
to
your
go
mind
do-
here. Do you know I was on? You remember that show Blind Date?
MTV?
It wasn't MTV. It was like UPN. Or
It was
something.
UPN, yeah.
I was on that show.
I
Blind
remember
Date.
that show.
Yeah. I was
Jesus,
on-
I'm learning so much
wait,
right
what?
now. Roxy, what reality show were you on?
So Blind Date.
I was actually I had like a couple reality show pilots, but nothing went to air.
Blind Date was a show where you would go. No. Was it? Yeah, it was Blind Date.
I think it was called Blind Date. I think so.
Was it Blind
Or was
Date?
it First Date?
Wait,
No,
it was a triple. What the hell was it? Third Wheel. Is what
Third
it- That's what it
Wheel.
was. It was
Oh
Third
my
Wheel.
God.
That's the show it
Shit,
was
I
on. Not
remember
Blind
that
Date.
one.
Third Wheel was the name. Remember that one? Yeah.
I've now seen everybody's reality show.
Yeah. It was called
I
Third
don't
Wheel.
know.
It wasn't.
Wait,
it was.
what
It was a
is it?
spin-off of Blind Date. That's what it was.
Right.
So basically,
This is how you met Sadie.
no, it is not how. I don't even think Sadie knows I was on that show.
Oh, shit.
You can't find it. I don't
Erase
think.
it.
You know what? Maybe you can find it because I was searching for Blind Date for. Oh, good God! I hope it's not on it.
Dude, it's the internet. We can find this.
But anyway, it was. It was
Somebody's
third,
already found it in the Facebook
Maybe
group.
it was Third Wheel, and it was basically So there were 2 guys and 2 girls, right? And you would basically go on a date with. You'd meet all of them inside of a and see who had the connection, and then they would throw someone in. Then someone, it could be either a guy or a girl, who they throw in, and then because let's say you have a connection with.
Sally.
Whoever. So let's say I meet Sally.
but I was saying
yeah,
Sally.
Yeah. But whoever. Let's say I meet Sally and I have this conversation, and Sally and I are really vibing.
Yeah.
But here comes Patricia.
Oh, boy.
Who they throw in there. I was like,
Right.
wait, sorry, Sally. Patricia's more my style. And then it was at the very end, the 3 girls actually, or guys, whoever depends on the third wheels, get to pick who they want.
Right.
At the very end of it. So even though the guy may have to pick the third wheel, it's the girls at the end who choose, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
I found a show called The Fifth Wheel.
That's what
Is
it
that
was. The fifth wheel.
Fifth Wheel,
The fifth
wow.
wheel.
I was gonna
The
say,
fifth
there's
wheel.
5
The fifth
people.
wheel. Yes.
Wow,
The
yeah.
fifth wheel. Okay, it was close. The third wheel is usually what they call.
Yeah.
But yes, the fifth wheel. God, please don't tell me that my episode.
Did you get picked?
I did. I wound up winning.
Whoa!
Wow.
Did you
Yeah,
hook
yes.
up with the girl?
I went out with her a bunch of times.
You
Her
did?
name was Gabrielle.
A bunch of times?
Yeah.
You
Nice.
went out with her a bunch of
Yeah,
times.
yeah. She was
you hooked
attractive.
up. You hooked up.
And she picked you.
Yeah,
Dated.
She was hanging out with her.
She picked you.
Yes,
Harloff's a player.
Wow.
it was.
Well, right. Of course, you're married now.
Yes.
But I remember the old days.
Yeah, but I mean that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
But
well, there's a lot of-
see,
there's still a lot of stuff in Florida State.
I take umbrance with player. I think
Umbrage.
player. I think whatever. I think I'll JTE it all day long. I don't give a shit.
I know you will.
I take umbrage with. I think I did that last week too, but I'm gonna make it my own word. And I think that a player is someone who's dishonest.
Okay, that's fair.
I think a player is someone who's dishonest.
That's not my reference, but I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Or
Like,
inference, rather.
Yeah, I think a player is someone who just kind of tries to maneuver around
Okay.
things. I was very honest.
Okay. You were an
you not
honest
agree?
player.
I didn't know you.
Oh, no, I meant with the terminology, not me.
Oh,
You were smooth. That's what I would say. You were smooth and in demand.
Depends.
I don't know if I would use that because I think I have a lot of dear friends that are players, and
Yeah.
I don't mean it in a bad way. I just mean they play a lot of women.
Yeah.
Like they're,
Well,
but
they-
I get
they-
what you're saying because by saying play, it feels like
Yeah.
a game. You're trying to win or whatever.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think that's what
Ladies
he was
play.
saying.
Ladies play.
Of course.
Yeah.
Maybe dishonest is the wrong
So
word.
what's the
but I mean,
word?
I don't know.
You
It's just
were
I was more upfront.
Yeah,
It's
so
more
what-
upfront.
So you were active.
You had game. How about that? You had game.
Sure.
That way you're not a player.
But I just hope Fifth Wheel actually doesn't exist because I was searching for Blind Date and I was like, and then there's this other show, Tail Daters, but we won't talk about.
What was the
Wait,
one where the parents watched and then chose? Did you ever see that reality
Oh,
show?
I remember that
The
one.
parents would watch in a van on a date and they choose who the person.
What's that
What's
playing
oh,
there?
What is this tail show?
Tail Daters was another one.
Tail
To
Daters?
yeah, it was right
you
before.
went on another reality
There's
show.
two of them, and it was one. This one that was MTV.
You got to make the money, man. You got to figure
What
out what
is-
you
It
want
was.
to do.
That's exactly right.
Tail
Yeah.
like women.
Tail Daters. No.
People don't
TA.
know.
It's basically what it was. Is that you were talking about parents. You'd have friends watching your
Oh,
date.
yes.
Tail Daters from inside of
Oh,
the
like a tailgate.
and they'd be watching inside. It would be two of their friends and two of your friends commenting on the date the whole
Yes.
entire time.
Yes.
And
So-
did you date that girl multiple
I
times?
did. but we went to. but
Wow,
it
what was her name?
Lisa. I might have made that up.
Gabrielle and Lisa.
Gabrielle, I remember.
Nice.
Yeah, but she was nice, the girl. But anyway, I went, and I got to remember that was right before I got made a regular at the Comedy Store. And
Then you had to stop.
no,
On all of these dating shows.
No, it was my friend Dave Taylor who. It was funny because they had made some. They had followed me around. I did stand up some bar for this girl that night, and they had made a reference like he's the next Sam Kinison. And my act was nothing like Sam Kinison. I was clearly not ever close to being the next Sam Kinison. But they said that on MTV, and then before I knew my friend Dave Taylor, is that a who's bringing their
dog?
fucking dogs?
Probably Wendy's.
What do we have barking dogs in the office?
We've had dogs in here.
Barking dogs in the office? Okay. Anyway.
Cal has barked.
What's your problem
He
with,
used to bark.
with the dog?
He would bark.
It's
Would
not.
bark.
I actually really
Cal was the
love
best
Wendy's
barker
dogs,
ever.
but but when you're in the studio, it's
barking.
Yeah, it's distracting because the story's
I don't
gone.
know if you can allow dogs and not allow barking.
You got to tell them that. I don't know. Put a muzzle on.
Bing,
them.
bing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get
I
it.
just
I
don't
get it.
know
But
if
Well, then you
that's-
can't
we
allow
gotta-
dogs.
we
Don't be
gotta-
a Nazi about
Maybe.
the
Then you
dogs.
can't allow dogs. No, see, but there's an air of professionalism. I think to where you don't want. You don't think so? You
I respect what you're coming from.
What if we
You
have
know what I mean?
Mike?
We do have
right.
the sheep sounds.
Right. But what if we have Michael J. White in here? He's in the middle of telling a
Oh,
story,
yeah.
and the dogs start barking. It makes
True.
us look like pikers.
I'm not agreeing or disagreeing. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I don't know that we can do one without the other.
I agree.
Because like, what are you going to do to the dog if it starts barking?
Well, we can close the door over there
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean-
in studio so it masks
Right.
it.
You
a
don't know
little
how
bit.
many times I've thought of riding in on a horse at a live event as the outlaw, but I'm afraid it's going to shit all over the stage.
It
So you can't
probably
have
will.
one without the other.
Do you know how to ride a horse?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, don't listen to Makuga. I've ridden horses, but it's
What?
like this. He
No,
says it all the
he
time.
says
He
it all the
bashes
time.
all the time.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you will be. Well, you're not. Well, if
I'm
you're
just
ever
saying.
going to ride a horse,
I'm just saying.
Houston.
Then ride a cowboy
yeah,
instead?
Yeah, Houston.
Can Dan ride a horse?
I don't know. Well, I'll
It'd be
teach
amazing
him.
if you
There's
and Dan
places around here.
You and Dan rode in on horses.
Yeah.
In Booker T Stadium. It'd be amazing.
That would be
Or
fantastic.
Dan can just like hold the horse.
lead it in.
He's the champion. He's going to be walking in
That's right.
anybody.
Well, I hope he's a champion.
But
Maybe he comes in on a skateboard. I don't know
Dan
why.
skateboard doesn't look
Yeah, but
no idea.
he's got the flannel shirt and the
Yeah,
hat.
it's
I
true.
could buy that.
Ooh, or maybe we have JT come in on a bird.
and he crashes into the stadium before it even starts.
JT's
Speaking of
one of
Booker
those-
T, though, I was on
Yeah.
Booker T's show last night
Nice!
on ESPN in
Congrats.
Houston. Yeah,
That's great.
we talked about the Showdown for a while. We talked about the live event that we're doing in Houston, May 18th. That we just talked about John being on the undercard with Dan, obviously, and
It's an honor.
It's dude,
Happy birthday.
It's gonna be it's.
Thank you.
It's your birthday? Oh, May 18th.
May 18th is his birthday.
The panic that just
Okay,
happened.
right. I'm like, wow. Well, it's like, no, that's not right.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we're going to be doing that event in Booker T Stadium. I mean, the fact that we're doing it in a wrestling arena alone, if you're in the Houston area, listen, even if you're in Texas in general, drive there, get there. It's going to be something special.
wear
And Booker
tights.
T is going to be there. You can actually you can buy meet and greets from Booker T as well if you want to do that. So once
gonna
again,
buy
May
my
18th,
meet
the
and greet.
SchmoDownLive.com. And the free for all is
I
coming
come?
up. The free for all you can definitely come to. We're going to be a week. We're Ellis almost a week away from the free for all. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? A week away from
not
the free
ready.
for all.
Yeah.
A week away. It is going to be insane. I just got
If-
confirmation on somebody that's going to be in it that the fans are going to be excited.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
If Ellis gets ill or you get ill,
You'd be able to call.
I wouldn't mind.
After seeing your skills, I have found two
Crushed.
incredible commentators this season. That would be yourself and Danielle Radford. Have both-
She's amazing.
Danielle was
Danielle's
so
great.
She's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the
Yeah.
best. I love her.
Yeah, she's gonna be doing we're doing some tapings on Saturday, and she will be calling one of the matches for sure.
She should compete. Does she not want
I
to?
asked her to. She wants to stay. She wants to stick
wants
with the
to
storylines
very-
and calling on the desk.
Okay,
She doesn't
but
want to compete
I
quite yet.
see at some point in her future.
That's what I heard, and I asked her. I said, "People think that
think
you'd
you
be
heard it
really
from me.
good." Was it you?
Yeah.
Well, maybe because
It was me who said it. I
Yeah.
think actually sitting right
She
here
said
and
she
you were
wa-
there and
she
it
said-
was live on air.
Maybe that's exactly what it was.
Can we bring out the tape?
And she said, no.
Especially with inner geekdom, I
Yeah.
think she would crush. But I think it's smart of her to try to get to know the game.
Yeah.
to
Sure.
do the
Watch it.
Yeah.
do
Well, it's the
the.
same thing. I'm still curious how Sturger would do. I want to see
Yeah.
because Sturger said
She
would-
knows a lot of them.
She
When we're
does,
sitting
she
on the
does.
side, she knows a ton of them.
I know. I probably put her in a team or anything. The problem, the thing is too, is what happens to, and I think she really likes doing the interviews because what happens is once you transition into player or manager, that starts the trajectory of going into doing so much more than and just doing the interviews wouldn't be. They'd have to find somebody else.
Yeah.
That's kind
Yeah,
of the thing.
like
Yeah.
Fife was one of the best.
She was great.
and having her move into the thing, we lost that on the side. And Jen's great, but like Fife was one of the best.
Yeah.
and
I agree.
it's one of the things I miss the most about her not commentating on the side anymore and not interviewing is her ability to really ask the right questions.
She's been doing
after matches.
She has really been doing it right, though, man.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
She she's running the Patreon now. She started the what's it called?
Happy
The
birthday to her,
Discord?
by the way.
That's
Yeah,
right,
happy birthday
belated.
to her.
Yeah.
Discord. And I didn't know what the hell the Discord was. I had no idea. So
Oh
behind
yeah,
the times.
I have
I'm in
Discord
that.
for my Patreon, and it's a
awesome.
lot of fun.
There's a Schmodown Discord. I don't know if I was supposed to say
What
that.
is
I think
that?
it's for the Patreon. It's just like kind of a chat. It's
No,
like
but
it's,
you can say it all you want. They can't get
They
in
can't
unless
get
they're
in
part
unless
of
you
the
have
Patreon.
to.
Oh, is that what it
You
is?
can't
Okay.
find it. You have to get a special link
I
sent
see.
to you.
I see. Okay, so
I don't know
Is
if
it a
I'm supposed to
chat?
say that.
I have
yeah,
no
so
idea.
basically, I can show you on my phone.
yeah.
But what it is, it's really cool if you are. I don't know what the tier is for you guys
I have
on
no
Patreon,
idea.
but if you
Emma
if
created
you
it
go
and I was
look-
cool with it.
If you go look at Patreon, you'll see it's probably like the lowest tier.
I'm
you
sure,
can
yeah.
you can go into what is essentially a text message thread
like
all
Slack.
day, but
It's like Slack.
But
It
it's
is.
split up by topic.
Yeah, it's like Slack.
So yeah, but not with people in your office.
with your
With
well,
followers.
your-
but,
with your
but at the same
followers.
time, right? It's like Slack for your followers.
Right. So
Yeah.
the people who are part of it, but you can talk about like all different things all day long, and
Yeah.
it'll be split up by like Collider Live
They
or
have
whatever.
so
things
basically
you're
there's
doing.
inside of the thing it's like live events general everything you get, like there's I think there's a corruption one there might be a
But it's
horse
not
one.
annoying like Slack because it's
No.
not. It's people you are
Yeah.
enjoying.
yeah, no, I
It's
actually I went in there and
Yeah.
did like a Q&A. It was fun. I enjoyed it,
If
but
there's a Horseman one,
I don't know.
need to
I'll
about
show you. I'll show you.
I'm gonna send out an
afterwards,
email
too.
to you.
No, I'll send her.
Yeah.
No, she,
But,
she said, already
Oh,
emailed
she did.
you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
No, that's
right.
okay.
I've been meaning to get
Yeah,
on.
it was
but
it was like a month ago. She sent it out to all of us, being
Yeah.
like, if you guys want to join, this is where the people are who watch you guys.
My bad.
I'll show you
There's
how
a
to
lot-
do it though.
Well, there's a
Roxy.
lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
The team in general that I've been working with has been awesome because we just if you go to the Facebook page for Schmodown, also we're uploading all the matches there now too. About 4 or 5 days after they air on YouTube,
Yep.
we're going to be uploading a lot of the old episodes onto Facebook as well. But one of the things we did audio wise is all of season 1, Riley. All of season 1, Riley's Glory Year. It is going to be. It's on audio. You can
Nice.
listen to it and see how the whole thing began. And thanks to Chris Clark who put that up there and partnered up with Himalaya to do it. You can test yourself, want to get reintroduced to how it all started. Go and check out season 1 of the Schmodown on audio. Let's go into some movie news. Anything going on in the world of the movie news?
You know, it's been pretty slow,
So
but
much.
there's stuff
There's
going
nothing.
on out there. I like this story that Sony is taking. They've been planning the Spider-Verse universe, and they have the next 7 years planned out, and that's movies and television. So we're getting a lot of Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Like we're getting, Spider-Gwen movie with
Lord and Miller are producing.
Lord and Miller are involved as executive producers.
Glad
Okay.
you said that because I still to this day do not feel like people realize they did not direct that movie.
Oh, I know they didn't direct it.
No, I know you-
Spider-Man.
that's why you said
right,
produce.
producer. Yeah, well,
It's just so funny because even people in our space all the
think
time,
that they directed it.
everyone thinks
Yeah.
they directed that film.
Well,
Yeah.
because their stamp is all over that thing.
Yeah.
That's why I
and
asked
they
how
did all
active.
the interviews, they did all the PR,
Right.
it's their their movie.
And I'm curious how active they will be because you could. There are some times when, like, for example, Nolan on Man of Steel. I don't know how involved Nolan was in Man of Steel, right? Spielberg in the Transformers.
Right.
I don't know how involved he was in the Transformers. But when I see Lord and Miller for Spider-Verse, I believe they were pretty involved. Like you said, they're going out all the junkets. They're doing all the interviews. They're up there accepting all the awards. I think they need to be involved. I think they need to be hands-on because I think you need their stamp on it because you take nothing away from the directors because the directors of that movie made that movie. It's visually stunning. Yeah. It's shot like a live-action film. It just looks incredible. So I would like to have all those people involved. But with Spider-Gwen, I think could work for sure. Are they going to go off and they're going to do Spider-Ham? With Mulaney?
There's no mention of Spider-Ham, but they
Please.
also Sony's also
Nick Cage or
calling
something?
the Sony's universe of Marvel characters. They're officially branding it that way, and this is including Venom 2 and Morbius.
Sony's
That's
universe of Marvel characters.
Yeah.
which is basically Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
That's
I
all
mean,
they
they
have.
don't have any, so the villains, the Venom,
Yeah.
Morbius is in production right now with Jared Leto and the Spider-Verse as they expand, TV shows, everything. It's vague in what they're exactly working on, but they say they have it all planned out.
Well, good.
All right.
Let's hope that they do. History will say we should doubt them.
Sure.
But we have different leadership these days, and we have a hit movie on our hands, and two hit movies.
yeah.
Two hit movies. So the question is how they're going to market it. Because Ruben Fleischer is not coming back for Venom 2.
Right.
We have a new director. Do we know who that director is yet?
I don't
Is that
think-
true?
I didn't know that.
I thought so. I thought that
I haven't
was the
heard
case.
that.
I
I bet he'll come back.
thought Ruben Fleischer wasn't. I don't know
Let me
where I heard that.
Let me look.
I heard Ruben Fleischer was not coming back because I heard him and Hardy didn't get along. Is that something that was not out there? Maybe, I don't know. I don't even know who I talked to anymore.
Probably Hardy.
Probably fell asleep. I had speaking of which, go back here.
Let me tell you something.
I had a dream last night that was so authentic.
Oh, boy.
And so real. Of course, I was dreaming about the freaking free for all, right? That's one thing. I was
Shock.
the seats coming. But then I don't know who I was talking to, but I'm sitting there talking to someone about what Lopan is that from
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah. Lopan.
There was a Lopan soda, and it was so clear. The Lopan soda was this red soda. I was like, that looks terrible. And Bibiani goes, strangely enough, it's delicious. And I could hear him the way that he's saying it. He's like, it's really, really good. And I'm like, and I look over and I was like, really? He's like, it's really good. Surprising, you wouldn't think it is, but when you have it, it's quite delicious. And I look over and he slugs it, and I'm like, do I want that? And then my wife woke me up because the baby was screaming, and I couldn't even think about the Lopan soda anymore.
I am so upset you just told that story.
Why?
Because I just feel like Bibiani's going to run with it like, Christian, you're even dreaming about me. And yeah, like,
I had him. It was so authentic. It was so real because if there was anybody, it was him. It was the way he talks. It was the way that he was telling me about. You wouldn't think that it was good, but it really is quite delicious. And I'm like, really? All right, I guess I'll try some of the. I mean, you know what? It was you that said it was good. It was Riley and Bibiani.
Oh my God!
Boy, that was
Riley-
like an accusation. It was you.
No, I remember. I mean,
Can I
you were
come?
you were sitting there though, but the endorser of the Lopan soda was.
Well, of course, because
Bibiani.
they made that meme of my
You-
nails
yeah,
and
yeah,
Lopan, so
you've
it's
been-
sticking in your subconscious,
it's
man.
that, and it's also I think that you got the question from Lopan.
Oh, yeah,
Who's
that's
the
what
boss?
won- that's what won against the Harris brothers.
Anyway, I don't know how we got down the Lopan soda road. but
Yeah, but you were right. Ruben
you are how
Fleischer.
we got down.
probably.
Yeah, Ruben Fleischer
that
is
before.
reported to not be returning
Yeah.
because of Zombieland 2.
Right.
So,
What?
Yeah,
For Venom.
He's not coming.
Venom
back.
2. He's he's
Tom Hardy's
welcome
coming
back, Lopan.
Lopan. It's like you're gonna see me like
What?
I'm dancing with Muppets, and then I come
Yeah.
back.
That's when
hey,
Homer
everybody.
Simpson had clown college in his head.
It really is. Welcome back.
What's it with the symbols?
You know what?
With the
It is.
monkey
I
symbols?
got to be honest with you because I am a glutton for punishment. hence wearing this hat.
Yeah. Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, sorry, man.
What a bunch of assholes.
OBJ. He had to
Sorry,
go.
man.
No, he didn't.
In
Dude,
his mind, he had to go.
What a bunch of assholes.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Leah, you can laugh it up, RB3. Well deserved. I was looking last night and I said, wait a minute. This is ridiculous. This is a rumor. They're going to trade Beckham. I'm like, this stupid assholes. Why would they do that? They're going to trade the best player on the team and the only guy who's actually bringing any eyes to the team.
Right.
And then they do it. It literally reminded me. I believe that I am now the Cleveland Indian fan in Major League, to where just wait. These guys are going to be shitty.
Yeah,
these
right.
guys don't
The two
look
Japanese
fucking
guys.
good. Oh no, all of them. And then the workers, the construction workers.
Yeah.
These guys don't
These
look
guys
too
are
fucking good.
Yeah, right. That whole beginning.
The whole beginning, and then I can see the owners of the team going, our goal is to finish dead last.
Yeah.
First round, the 7th pick, and then next. What are you doing? This whole draft this year is going to be defense anyway.
Christian, what do you think that they are doing?
Drink. Trade him. And what are you going to do with Eli? Let him play for 10 more years.
That's the thing.
Give me a shot.
I don't know how you choose Eli over OBJ. You have OBJ, Saquon Barkley. You have the possibility of more coming in, and you do this. It makes no sense at all, other than
Guys,
the fact that he's disgruntled.
If I may.
Oh, boy.
Please,
Yeah.
Please.
So
I got to jump off
I'm not
after
going
this.
to justify this trade.
No,
But
you shouldn't.
if I was trying to, they do have 2 first-round picks now. I would assume they would trade up to try to get one of the new quarterbacks in the draft.
Sure, but who is he going to throw
Cody
to?
Hall.
Cody.
Yeah.
But who's he going to throw to,
Look, I'm
Cody?
not saying that's what I would do. I'm just
No,
saying that's the
you're
reason.
saying that's right. You're saying that's
Yeah,
what
I see the logic.
What they're
It's
going to
just
do
such
is
a chance to
they'll,
take.
They'll trade up, get a quarterback, hope he's good, eat shit this season, and then try to draft somebody next season,
Right.
And try to get somebody good that he can catch to, and let this be and take the hit. But it's like I don't want to take the hit.
But that's it. You have just explained like this entire. You have years to now rebuild off of this trade.
It's a mistake to try and go.
It's horrendous.
There's as many
Horrendous.
quarterbacks in the first round who've been selected who crashed out of the NFL than there are who selected in later rounds. You got to remind you, Tom Brady's a third or 6th round back,
Yeah.
6th round bad draft pick. That should let you know do you have the right front office to pick the right quarterback regardless of the round? That's what
Listen, man,
matters.
with the Giants and the Knicks, it's like who
He's
is
an
running
otherworldly
stuff.
talent to let go of, man.
Where do you have to go?
Oh, I have to jump on to do a recap for SmackDown Live with Ryan.
you go.
Pro Wrestling Sheet.
Oh, and as you get the hell out of here, how funny is it? Did you hear the deal that WWE just made, and with who?
No, I guess not.
They just signed. They made a deal with Eminem.
Yes,
no,
they did.
No.
He's not.
Yes.
way.
He's not going to wrestle, but he's doing like music and stuff for them. But
yeah.
it's funny. He's
That's
doing
awesome.
a job. So Makuga,
You know,
Makuga was Nostradamus on that one.
When Makuga and I went to our pre-pro for hypothetical questions, and I was still making fun of him about that, he was like, Roxy, you said out loud, I thought what you said was the name starts and ends with the same letter. And I was like, Makuga,
It doesn't start.
Eminem doesn't start and end with the same letter, and
right.
he lost it because that was his defense the whole time. He just kept screaming, "You said," which is
Right.
not what I said. But
No, but even
But
if he
I
did say that, it was wrong. Yeah.
what are you talking?
What are you talking about? But Eminem
And so
signed
he
the deal.
He was crying. He was laughing so hard. He was like, I don't know.
So I didn't see any of that. Anything that happened last night on SmackDown or Raw. I haven't really watched SmackDown in a long time, but Raw. I guess they're really building up to WrestleMania, which I'm excited about. It was funny. I usually throw these things to make my daughter say to my wife, always knowing that that she's not gonna. There's certain things like we joke around. My wife doesn't want her to watch certain things yet, right? So I'll always joke and I'll go, if you go ask Mom, you can watch Game of Thrones. Right? No, obviously, knowing what the answer is going to be, and knowing that even if she said yes, I wouldn't let her do it. But yesterday, I go, tell Mom you're going to watch WrestleMania next week. And she goes, hey, Mom, I'm going to watch WrestleMania next week, expecting Anna to violence. She's like, all right, we'll see. And I go, and my daughter looks at me, and we go, all right.
Oh my God.
All right.
So it begins.
Yeah, well, because she's seen a couple Ronda Rousey fights before, but now she knows. She goes, Ronda Rousey's fighting, and she's a bad guy. She's like, I am not going to root for her.
Nice.
And
She
for
gets
her.
it.
oh, yeah, she gets it. She gets it. She roots for all the.
How does she have all this ancillary knowledge just from hearing you talk about stuff?
I mean, truth be told, I showed her the Randy Savage Steamboat match like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and we watched it one morning. Yeah, we watched it one morning. It's one of the best matches of all time. If you've never watched wrestling and you're like, oh, I don't know, watch that match. Steamboat versus Savage, WrestleMania 3. It's easily one of the best matches of all time. It stole the show, and Hogan and Andre were the main event that night, and Savage and Steamboat stole it.
Christian, are you done having kids?
I never had any. My wife had them, but as far as
I mean, I think
as
you
far as
helped.
contributing,
Yeah.
am I going to contribute anymore? No, I think I'm done.
How does she feel?
I think she's done too. Yeah, contributing.
Well, except after the twins come.
Right. Well, right.
Yeah.
Of course. Remember that post?
I remember.
Yeah, everyone remembers.
God, that pissed people off.
Oh, it sure did.
Yeah.
And then you did it, and you
Yeah,
bailed
I
on
did
it. You bailed
Oh,
on it.
yeah, I was. I
Pussy.
had to. That
Yeah.
was getting bad for me.
Fine. Thrawn's back at it again.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he did something yesterday.
Let's see.
You want to hear
Is
what
it
he
about
did?
the dentist?
It might be.
Let's hear
You
it.
want to hear?
Oh,
So,
no.
Cody, can you bring up
Oh, this
Thrawn's
is gonna be
channel?
awful because it really,
What's wrong?
No,
Why could it be
because
awful?
I know what's coming.
Oh, you do?
I think.
I don't know if you do.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Well,
What
then I'll
just
hold it.
happened?
What's
Yeah,
his
well,
channel again?
It's impossible to find. Oh, there it is. There you go. Right there. That's the first one. Perfect. There you go. We got lucky. Turn it up. It's Thrawn's new hit.
Oh my God. This reminds me of ska.
Yeah.
Save Ferris.
Yeah, it's sublime.
There we go.
Christian is gone right now. Christian at the dental. Christian getting his teeth cleaned.
I know.
Christian.
This is what I figured.
It's true.
He got some fluoride at the dentist. Bryan Cranston played a dentist in Seinfeld. Crazy. On Breaking Bad, his
so
son
true.
RJ Mitty was on the show. We saw him at the national championship. I was blacked out on Miller Lite. Chris was there. He likes Florida State. We also saw Roy Jones Jr. who was at the Rose Bowl. I drank more, and then Finstock was on crutches. We got handicap access because Finstock had some weird card. It was awesome. We got the free seats and a guy in a wheelchair loved my dance. Christian back from the dentist. Word. It's Christian time.
It reminds. Glad I wasn't there. It reminds me.
So good.
It reminds me of
Christian.
something that you would have seen on one of those shows in like 1983 with
Yeah.
like those in the tracksuits and just kind of It was.
I'm gonna say that's really bad. It's he's great.
He's great.
We're bad.
No,
Oh,
what
yeah,
are you
there-
talking about?
that
Christians.
part. Yeah,
Christians.
Makuga turned into the drunk guy at the wedding that thinks I can throw down some lyrics. He turned into that guy on The
He
Bachelor.
crushed it.
He turned into that guy on The
Wait,
Bachelor.
can you go back to The Bachelor for a second?
Sure.
So what happened?
with that whole thing.
Well, I don't want to watch, so can you just tell me
Oh,
how
the
did she
actual-
win?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was right. in
About Cassie.
About the girl, yeah, because so he dumped the two girls last week or whatever it was on Monday.
Oh, he did? He said no?
He said no, and it's one of those things that finally, it's why people love this guy, because he wasn't just doing what they told him to do. He made it real and said, like, I'm not going to keep these girls around. He's like, you're cool, but I'm not in love with you guys. Get out of here. And so he kicked them out, and then he said, I'm going to go fight for this girl. He goes, shows up, takes the girl, tells her, hey, come meet my parents. They do. Then they start hanging out a little bit more.
Wait, but how does he convince her? She already left.
She didn't leave yet. She was still in the
Yeah,
hotel
but she was
room.
over it, and then he goes there and he's like,
She
no.
thought she was over it. They had a
Okay.
conversation because once he told her that he scrapped the other two girls, she went, "Whoa, really? Wait a minute." She liked that, and apparently it was a romantic conversation from what I heard from my wife. She's like, "That's romantic." I go, "It is." And I was
Yeah,
like,
I guess.
I was like, "Cool." And
I
I
broke up with my other girlfriends
Yeah.
is a little romantic.
I went back to the Facebook group. I'm like, "Okay, what's romantic in here?" And then some guy's talking about his dog's farts. And I was like, "Okay, I guess that's my."
Okay, so he goes, she meets the parents. No, you have to talk now. She goes, she meets the parents.
Oh, I have to talk.
I don't know what happened.
You can probably figure it out. Yeah.
Like, as you're telling the story, you're just,
I just bailed.
you bail. You completely bail.
Sometimes, like with this, it's the perfect storm. You like bail it, or whatever this is, and then Cody with the haymaker out of
Roxy goes, "No, you have to talk now."
that got me, and then the
Yeah. Well,
I don't know what happened.
Christian, going to the dentist, Christian. I think I went to the dentist in my head.
drink your Lopan.
I guess we can move on.
No, I mean, look. So they went on the date and they wind up banging, and he lost his virginity.
He lost
What?
his
He
virginity.
never
did it.
He never said outright, but they certainly implied it. And but Harrison was pushing it.
He didn't.
He even said it.
He didn't say it. He was just sitting there.
Yeah, he's like, did you get it? And he's basically, are you still a virgin? And he goes, well, I used to be able to be upfront with it and tell everybody. He's like, but there's 2 people in the relationship now, so I'm going to be respectful. And Harrison goes, I'm going to take that as a yes.
Yeah.
So
Also,
good
he
for
walked
him.
in like Josh Baskin and big after it happened.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Oh, you watched it?
Why
What?
can't
You watched it?
No, I didn't watch it. I
No.
was
Why
kidding.
can't he
Did he
say-
do that?
Yeah.
Why can't he say, yeah, I had sex with the girl I'm going to marry?
Well, because no, that's the thing. They're not getting engaged.
They're not engaged.
They're just
They just had
dating.
sex.
They're just dating, and they're in love. And
Oh, so that's the thing.
That's
They're
the thing.
not-
He's like, I'm not going to pressure you. He's like, we don't have to get married. He's like, that's what he's like.
I like.
He's like, I just want to have a relationship with you. He's like, if it comes down the line, he's like, we don't have to get engaged. He's like, he's like, the show doesn't dictate what we do.
Oh.
I give this okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I
That's why
give
people love
this guy all the credit in the world,
Right.
and that's all I've ever
Yeah.
wanted to see is somebody to make the right
Well,
decision.
he's moving to Los Angeles to be closer to her now.
There it is.
And there you
Because she
go.
lives here?
Yeah, she lives in like Huntington Beach or something.
She's going to leave him, right?
I don't know. You never look. If this was 5 years ago, I would have told you yes, because all of the relationships, none of them lasted. But since then, a lot of these fuckers are staying together and having kids. So I don't know. I mean, look at Jared and Ashley. They're pretty happy, and you could find the right person, or it could be a disaster. Who the hell knows?
And Jared
Seems
and
like the guy's
Ashley-
authentic though.
Jared and Ashley though, like kind of worked on their they were friends for a while.
And she was chasing him around for a long
yeah,
time too. So,
and
yeah.
worked
He
out.
was a jerk face to her.
I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, maybe on your show,
Yeah.
but not on. And the show itself, he was trying to find other people.
Mm-hmm.
He was honest. Same thing. Not being a player. Going to the dentist.
Well, it worked out for them though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. People liked
true.
the Felch conversation yesterday, by the way.
Nice.
That's why I have it. Stop making Felch. No, I have a note that I thought said. What does that look like? That says.
Looks like
Felch.
it says Felch.
It is not. It says Felicity Huffman. Which I guess at this point.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well,
it's-
that's accurate. now.
Oh God!
Jesus.
I mean, it is what a disaster of a story. My mother was the one who
Unbelievable.
sent me that story yesterday, and she goes, and I just saw Lori Loughlin at the Mary Poppins premiere. She was actually sitting next to Uncle Jesse,
Oh, really?
and
boy.
they were
John Stamos?
Yeah, and they were having a nice conversation, laughing it up. And who would have known that trying to. The elitists, if you will, trying to pave the future for their children by bribing them into schools or getting them into schools.
It's
like,
so awful.
Yeah,
the
man.
first indication I saw was Lori Loughlin's daughter posting that Instagram post, and I
How
thought
long
they were
ago?
just. Well, I saw it yesterday for the first
what did she
time
post?
before the news
Wait,
broke.
what did she post?
So the daughter posted in her dorm room. She's like, I've got everything I need, and it's like she's like posed, and it's like Instagram stuff. She's like peddling something.
Yeah.
Her dorm room is just wall to wall like advertisements, right? And people were giving her shit because of it. Like they were saying, like, oh, here's white privilege and it's thing, and she's like, hi, everything, and then this news breaks, and that
God.
image compared to what went down, everybody was like, oh boy, this looks bad.
Yeah,
this
of course.
looks really bad.
Well, I want to see the picture.
What's her name? The kid's name?
I don't know.
All right, just put in Lori Laughlin's kid and put Instagram and see if
Daughter, here we
daughter.
go.
You got it. Well, we can't see it over there. Cody's
No,
got it.
I'm going to try to slack her.
Oh. Well, Cody can figure it out. He's a
Yeah.
smart kid.
That's true.
Yeah, he's got to be able to figure it out.
He's gonna be a dad.
He's gonna be a dad soon.
So you got to be able to Google.
How's your wife doing, Cody?
She's doing good.
Okay,
Everything's
good.
great.
Everything's
Watched
good?
Bachelor last night.
Oh.
I fell asleep.
Yeah.
It was great.
What are we like 4 months in now?
Yeah, we're at 17 weeks.
17 weeks. So you
Yeah.
starting to get you starting to get the pregnancy wrath or not yet?
No, not yet.
Enjoy
Just, standard wrath, I would say.
Okay.
Nothing too crazy.
Well, like the late great Brody Stevens, enjoy it.
I found a random phone when we were shooting on Saturday, and like a jackass, I just started taking like pictures of myself on it, selfies.
Nice. There's no code.
Well, you can take pictures without there being a code.
That's
you just
right.
swipe up and hit the camera. You just can't send them or look at photos, but you can take them.
That's a shitty thing to do.
So I was taking pictures, kissy face, like all this stuff.
Can you imagine if some poor bastard's girlfriend opens that up? Is that what happened?
Cody's.
It was Cody's. It was Cody. Did he get in trouble?
No, I don't think so, because I found out when I was doing it, Cobster was like, yeah, that's Cody's phone. And his wife is pregnant. Let's not mess with that situation.
Cops was getting serious. Cops
I
were
was
getting
like-
serious.
I was like, Cody, I took a lot of pictures on your phone. It was a weird thing to do. I'm sorry. He's like, thanks for the heads up, man.
Yeah, Cody, how do you think that would have went over if your
Not
pregnant
well.
yeah
Not
if
well.
your pregnant wife would have opened up and saw a picture of Roxy
I'm
giving
like,
you
it's
kissy
just a
faces?
joke. She's like, great.
It's great.
was
Yeah.
literally
I'm
being
sitting
like,
here having your child, and you're out there with a girl who can't even find her way to Burbank.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep,
you think
I
she
know.
could get all that from a picture?
Yeah. Yeah, it happens.
It reads it on my face.
It's the no. It's just it's the thing. It's like magical powers.
Ooh, pregnancy senses.
Pregnancy
Spidey
powers.
sense.
And the sense of smell goes up.
That's true.
That's true.
I know
no,
that
no.
one.
And my wife has an amazing sense of smell already, and then she turns into a basset hound when she's pregnant. It's crazy.
I think you're gonna have another one.
No,
I'm just letting you know.
I don't
think you're wrong.
I think
Have you taken steps to not have another one?
talked about it. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Yeah. How about we
I'm not
finish
allowed
talking
to ask
about?
questions like that.
I'd like to talk about the criminals.
What
Yeah.
criminals? Oh,
Felicity Huffman.
Yeah,
and Lori Loughlin.
Yeah.
They're criminals.
They're criminals now. But
She was arrested.
But wait a minute. But yes, she was. But what
She was
about-
arrested and
but
posted
no-
$250,000 in bail.
No talk of William H. Macy though. Like he's involved, obviously, right?
interesting.
Well, here we go.
So it's her husband.
At
Yeah.
the very start of this New York Times article, a year
yeah.
ago.
Break it down for everybody. What's happening?
Yeah, a year
in case
ago, the
anybody-
Yes,
feel-good
please.
Hollywood
Roxy
couple.
did a terrible job.
Felicity Huffman and William H. Macy, this is his first mention, made a $15,000 donation to the Key Worldwide Foundation. A bookkeeper for the charity wrote back saying that the money would help provide educational self-enrichment programs. Yada, yada, yada. They've learned that this is a big ring.
Cover.
And a cover.
Yeah.
That, and this involves...
We'll give you $15,000. Get our kid into a good
and there's
program.
more. And
Yeah.
I like, there's a lot of this. So, and I don't know in excess of how much she paid,
Right.
but they are thinking it could have been as much as over $1 million. But this also includes like high-ranking CEOs. I believe they said some kind of fashion designer, bigwig. Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin, and a number of other like prominent business people. It was a huge sting.
This was so stupid. There are so many ways that these Hollywood people could have done that without getting themselves in trouble. If
Yeah.
Felicity Huffman and William H. Macy, just befriend them, take them out to dinner, have some good dinners with them, and let them be part of take them to some premieres, hold their hands. Hey, get to meet my friend Brad Pitt. You know, then you feel that there's other ways to do it to where you're not doing stupid things like this. You become friends with these people.
I don't understand how somebody thought this was a good idea.
Listen to this.
Then you're going to get caught. It's an elitist attitude. It's a stupid elitist attitude. You got
This is
Fucking big deal.
exactly.
Probably.
So one, William H. Macy is seen arriving at the federal courthouse in Los Angeles, and he was not charged, though his wife's indictment alleges that he consented to the cheating scheme. So that's not good.
Wait, say that again. His wife.
No. So
His wife-
he was not charged, William H. Macy,
Yeah. Right.
but through his wife's indictment, it alleges that he
Oh.
consented to the cheating scheme.
Well, I mean,
so he's like, yeah, sure, do it. That
ass-
sucks.
Of course, you would assume.
But why would she admit that?
It gets worse though.
Yeah,
like
all right.
listen to this.
Okay.
This is where it got me, where I'm like, you dumb people.
Yeah.
This is awful.
Yeah.
So Mr. Singer, who's the one that is running this kind of scheme on like how to do it.
This is Lori's.
This
wait,
is
who's this
William Singer.
Okay.
Is the head of the college preparatory business and the founder of the charity.
Oh, he was the one who started.
kind of the ringleader.
He's the Tony Soprano of the
Right.
group. Okay.
Following Mr. Stringer's instructions, Miss Huffman had her daughter seek permission to get extra time in the SAT, an option available to students with learning disabilities or other needs. Once the girl received the permission, Mr. Singer instructed Miss Huffman to have her daughter take the test in December of 2017 with a proctor who was in on the scheme.
Right.
That would give them the extra time they needed, where they'd all get together and cheat, and they would get the test scores up there.
Who cracked this code? Who cracked it? Did they this
I
is
think
the-
it's the FBI.
No, but who? You know,
I
like
don't know.
which- like who was the first?
This is a movie waiting to happen,
It
too.
could have been like it could have been. Obviously, it was the FBI that was contacted. But who was the first one to go? Wait a minute.
What's happening?
Something stinks.
Well, because you see how they do on the SATs and you know what kind of student they are. I just don't understand also, maybe you can explain this, Christian. I know you want to protect your kids, but
Yeah.
what kind of a parent? The kid obviously knows what's happening. So
Right.
what kind of a parenting move is that?
Well, it's the rationale you would assume is I'm going to do what it takes to get my kid into the best school. They're smart enough; they will learn. Once they get into that school, they're going to flourish. We have these connections. We're going to use them. We have this ability, you know, this life that we can further by putting our kids in this amazing school. And
And
here's
you
this
tell your
opportunity.
kids that? You say cheat?
I wouldn't do any of this.
No, I know you
Yeah,
wouldn't,
how would
but
you do?
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know these people. I don't know what they did. And you know, we have perceptions of. I mean, again, if you lined up a whole bunch of celebrities before this broke, and you said, okay, these are the people that are going to be nailed for doing this. These would be the last 2 people I would pick. And it has to do with perception of how we see them, right? I mean,
Right.
you look at Lori Loughlin. I remember I've been watching her since Rad. That's right, 1985's Rad. She was the lead girl in that.
Who were the Conjuring writers?
Yeah,
Wasn't
the
that-
Conjuring brothers.
Yeah.
The Hayes brothers.
Hayes brothers,
Yeah,
there
they
it
were
is.
in it too. So
How does this affect their careers?
does
it?
I think for a bit. I mean, the same way. Look, there have been a lot of people who are involved in scandals and big scandals, and it's going to hit them in the pocket for a while because people aren't going to want to be associated with them.
Well,
and
she's going to be
there's this
charged.
thing-
This is a federal
Yeah,
thing,
man.
so she's going to have.
Well, the question is William H. Macy because he's still got Shameless on the air, right?
Yeah, he does.
Shameless is still in the air. So
And
what's
they've now lost Emmy Rossum, so
what happened? She's
just no longer doing the show. She had her final episode on Sunday.
did she die?
I don't want to say because
okay.
it's so recent to what just
okay,
happened.
Okay. I
Because
don't know. I don't
that's
watch the show.
spoilers. Yeah,
That's fine.
but she was all season. They were saying this was her last season. Everyone
Oh,
knew that
and
was
it's what, like
happening.
9 seasons or something?
I think it was the 8th season.
Is that for real?
Literally, I really do think.
9.
I do think it was the 8th.
We set ourselves up.
Listen to this too. This is funny. So when they were trying to do the cheating, and it was getting to the high school, there was a different proctor. So Felicity Huffman allegedly writes the guy Ruh-roh in an email because the proctor was there. So did the Scooby-Doo thing Ruh-roh. And they got this email apparently, and so they were like, "Okay, let's figure it out." They found the crooked proctor at a different school, and they worked it out so
To where they got him in instead.
Does
she
he
got
get,
there.
He must get in trouble too.
Oh, everybody's going down.
That is crazy. I'm telling you, I want to hear from the person that cracked the case or that started to. Like the one person, like, no. We're gonna make sure that this shit does not go down. Like, was Felicity Huffman an asshole to someone, and then that it was someone who was actually in on it that ratted? Like, what happened? Like, what happened?
It's
And
really not right.
no,
It's really not.
Samantha
Love her.
was
CIA, she cracked it.
I wouldn't be surprised, but she went off on Facebook this morning. Like, all the hard work that these parents try to do to get their kids studying and get them to where they got to work, and then people who happen to be on television and in movies can just go, no, we're gonna pay a little money and make sure our kid gets it. It's a scheme.
And we all know that they can do that. We all know that if you donate money to a school, then maybe it helps or whatever. But this is next
another
level. Yeah.
This isn't just like, hey, we're making a donation, take care of our kids. I put a lot of money into this school to build up your programs. This is literally help my child cheat. That's what this is.
Yeah.
And that's bonkers. But
This
what
article
about
keeps going?
Yeah, keep telling. What about Lori Loughlin? How did she get recruited by Felicity? Is that what happened? They buddies?
Another actress who was charged, Lori Loughlin, was making arrangements to surrender.
Bums me out that Lori Loughlin is tied up in this. I like her a lot.
Her husband, Massimo Giannoli, was also charged.
Right. That's what it
Mr.
means.
Giannoli founded the. I think. Look, I
How
went
is
back.
Macy not involved?
I think
gotta
he
be.
might. I mean, what they're saying is that he was in conversation.
Yeah.
So he was an alleged
On set.
in conversation, but never moved the plan into fruition, which was when Huffman gave a $15,000
You
payment.
know how it goes. You know everything that your wife.
He hasn't been
your
named,
fiance
right.
knows everything you're doing, and you know everything she's doing. If you got, and they've been married long enough that he knew what's
I don't
going
know.
on.
I've learned from people recently that sometimes you don't know what your significant other is doing for with money.
So
True.
how Lori Loughlin was and her husband were involved. The parents are accused of paying $500,000 to Olivia.
This is Loughlin?
This is Loughlin.
Okay.
Paying to have Olivia and her sister classified as crew recruits for USC. Fight on,
Crew
Roxy.
Right
Jones?
on, baby.
Despite never having participated in the sport, the indictment says $100,000 was in the form of two $50,000 bribes to Donna Heinel, a senior associate. USC is going down. A senior associate athletic director at USC,
they
who
haven't
then
had
marked
any-
the girls as potential members of the crew team.
Yeah.
And then
USC
they
has had a
sent-
lot of scandal recently.
Really?
Holy crap. Are you making a joke?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh.
They're full. It's like it's just.
You guys heard about the
when it-
the gynecologist?
Listen,
and
when it doesn't, when USC doesn't have a scandal, you just wait for
You
it.
wonder what's
Yeah.
going on.
It's just like
and
rain.
the,
It's rain.
The
in-
doctor with the
yeah.
drugs. Did
Yeah.
you hear about that one, Riley?
It's like
Yeah.
rain in Seattle. Eventually, it's going to happen.
yeah.
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 So it's,
Fight on.
I'm not very happy with my alma mater. I'll tell you that. That's ridiculous.
I still love it there.
I
for
love
all
it.
of the great
I'll
things,
always be a
but-
Trojan. I will fight on all the way.
Yeah, man.
But just like when you know
the
there's that
people
much scandal,
involved,
how do you not like
get them out?
get
They're
them
all
out?
dead. They're all gone.
Yeah.
This is actually really funny. Based off of Roxy's comment before, there's a new article that just went up on the Schmodown site. Breaking: Christian Harloff dreams about William the Beast Bibiani. He didn't really. He's kidding. He's kidding. He mocked it up. But
I knew
That's
it.
great.
It's very
I knew
funny.
it.
That's funny.
I knew he would do
It was
it.
good. It was funny. But I want a picture of Bibiani with the Lopan soda though. Please, Rasika. Somebody please do that.
Yeah. Oh, happy
It was-
birthday to Rasika, by the way.
Oh my God, so many birthdays.
We're having a little issue with the Facebook group.
Yeah, it's hard to have the Q&A, right?
They can't get the Q&A up there.
What I will
There's
tell you
there's
is
something going on with Facebook,
It's just Facebook
in general. Yeah.
But I
Something
woke.
going on with Instagram too.
Well, it's
Who owns
the
Facebook?
same thing.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
Facebook owns
yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily.
It might be server or something.
Yeah.
But what I woke up to this morning when I looked into, because there was a lot of members that are joining that Facebook group, over 30 members just last night. That just
Nice.
It's
Bomb.
since when did we announced it last week? So over 2,000 new members in that group, 16,000 or something like that, and it is growing rapidly. Go to the Collider Live official Facebook group and check it out.
They did something cool for me yesterday
What'd they
too.
do?
I was really appreciative. I made a little short on my YouTube, and somebody put it in there, and people were being awesome about it. Which was
and
great.
just to let somebody know. So Collider Live is a place for that too. It's a lot of people submit stuff to the Schmodown one that it's just if it's not relevant like that. I
Yeah.
said go over to Collider Live. Same thing with Little Bobby and Juice. There's this guy who reacts with his girlfriend to the Little Bobby and Juice episodes. He actually cut his mustache like OJ did in this
my
last one. But they
the girlfriend must love that.
and they you just can't submit that stuff to the Schmodown because it's not relevant to it. Just
Right.
submit it to
Collider
Collider
Live.
Live, and that's where
But
that's
that was
where it'll
really
go.
cool. Thank you guys
But-
for whoever did that.
yeah, absolutely. I want to check it out for sure. But yeah, Little Bobby and the Juice, by the way, is
I haven't watched episode 2 yet.
It's good. It's funny. It's actually
great.
one of the.
I heard you guys
better
talk
written
about
ones.
it on here though, and that's what made me not want to watch it because one of you guys said like I hate him, but I think it was Dorina. Like, I hate him, but I love him or something, and I was like I don't want to hate him.
No. You should see it. It's
Okay.
fun.
funny.
It's
Okay.
fun. You'd like it. It's
But
fun.
here he is asking me to be a voice on it. He's claiming he's emailed me twice. No emails. That's not how email works.
Oh, I got one. I got an email.
Where's my email?
I don't know. Ask him.
I did when he was sitting here.
Well, he doesn't know where he is.
Yeah.
When it goldfish here.
He's at the dentist.
Is he here?
He's here.
Okay, cool. Our guest, Michael J. White, is here. We're bringing him in. So wasn't he supposed to come in at 11:30?
Nope, 11.
11 o'clock. Well, great. We have him at 11 o'clock. So we're going to talk to our guest, Michael J. White. That is right, from the film Triple Threat. Man, are we excited to talk to him. Of course, I'm going to ask him about Tyson. Of course, I'm going to ask him about Spawn. And if you guys have any questions, make sure you hashtag Collider Live, and Riley will ask some questions as well when we get back.
Hey, Collider fans, John Roca here. Look that behind me. There it is. Collider Sports.
show.
That's right. That is happening. We've got some great
Smell that
programming
Ewok.
on there already. For those of you that have already watched, thanks so much. We got so much coming down the pike. We're talking about NFL. We're going to talk about NBA. There's plans about NHL. Golf is in the equation now. And, of course, the Premier League show that I host with Jack Hind, that's been in motion for the last couple of weeks. And then an MMA show is on the way from Dennis Zhang, me, and Jay Williams. All those things are happening here at Collider. And look, we want to hear from you, so we want you to listen. We want you to watch. If you're a sports fan, even if you're not a sports fan, we might entertain you, teach you something new about a sport that you may not have known much about, or maybe so deep into it that you wanted to learn even more about it. We've got you covered. You can do that. Follow us on iTunes and on YouTube. You can there watch all the shows or listen to all the shows that you want, and then leave us comments and rate the shows as well and review them, and then let us know what other sports you want us to cover. Look, we're not touching rugby. I'll just tell you that right now. That's as far out as we'll go, or cricket. But maybe in the future, if we go Collider worldwide, that's certainly a possibility. But for right now, Collider Sports is there for you. Take a look at it. Take a watch. Let us know what you think.
Do it!
Oh, hi guys. It's Perry here, and I am going to tell you about The Witching Hour. It is the show that I host along with Collider.com's Haley Fouch. It is in podcast form on the Collider Factory feed, and we also have the video up and running every Tuesday for you right there on the Collider Podcast YouTube channel. We talk about everything horror. We're talking TV, movies, the newest releases. We talk about movies that are celebrating anniversaries. We've even talked about books. It's crazy. If it is scary, we are talking about it on The Witching Hour. We also have so many filmmaker interviews, really cool stuff. It's all coming your way every single Tuesday on The Witching Hour. Check it out. Collider Factory and the Collider Podcast YouTube channel. Ugh.
Hello, Collider Live. My name is Amy Dallin.
And I'm Coy Jandro, and we host a little show we love called Collider Heroes. And it is all of the things we love about movies, TV, comics themselves, all the breaking news, trailers, photos, but not paparazzi photos.
All of the superhero stuff we love, all of the indie comic stuff we love, all the stuff you had no idea was based on comics.
80 years of comic lore have led to this show, and many years in film and TV, and we're living in a golden age of comics, and we want to share all of that zeal with you folks.
So we talk about the stuff that's coming out. We talk about what we hope is coming out. We do fantasy casting of things that should exist. Why don't they exist?
And we do your Twitter questions asking directly to us what we think of certain things. And every single week, since we both actually love and read physical comics, buy in print, we have a comic pull list where our 5 biggest favorite books of the week come out, and we dive into those with you guys.
You can buy digital. I'll forgive you. As long as you're paying for your comics. It's all good.
But if you buy in print, you can bag them and board them, and then they're worth more later, because comics are like certain things from the 90s that are totally worth the value. Buy comics, buy in print. Digital's never worth anything later. Buy in print, keep comic stores alive.
Or we can debate collector's items all day long. We can debate casting. We can debate movie news. We can have all of our friends come join us, as we frequently do. We can ask professionals about their work. We've had some amazing guests come by the show.
Yep. We try to
can catch it every Wednesday.
That are on these properties that also love comics. You hear what it's like from their perspective, from inside, from outside, and this is all with the focus of bringing all this news to you guys. And we're here every Wednesday on Collider, and we love this stuff and want to share it with you guys.
We'll see you then.
Hey guys, Riley here, and let me tell you about the Riley Roundtable. That's right, they gave Riley his own podcast. The Riley Roundtable is on its new home. It drops every Thursday. The Riley Roundtable is a little bit about everything. It's about movies and life and movies and everything in between. I like to have on special guests for discussions like Justice League versus Batman v Superman, for discussions about wine tasting, for discussions about UFOs, and everything in between. That's right, the Riley Roundtable drops on Thursdays on the One-on-One with Christian Harloff podcast feed, and later on Collider Video's own podcast video network. So check it out every Thursday, the Riley Roundtable. See you there.
Hey everyone, John Roca here, one of the hosts for Collider Sports Time. That's our new show there on the Collider Sports Network. It's our flagship show, just like Collider Movie Talk. We get on, talk about a bunch of sports issues of the day and what is burning up social media, what topics are burning up social media. That's what we do on Collider Sports Time. I'm joined by my top 10 co-host, Matt Nost. Me and him, we welcome a bevy of guests every week to talk about NFL, the Major League Baseball playoffs, NHL, and the NBA, which is starting up soon. We're going to talk about that. We also get into UFC stuff, college football, all the stuff that's happening in the world of sports. We're going to cover it on Collider Sports Time. And we're going to take the time to break it all down and give our opinions and our unique takes and unfiltered thoughts on what we think about the sports news of the day. So don't forget to join us every week on Monday for the Collider Sports Time show on the Collider Sports Network. And don't forget to subscribe on the Collider Sports Network on YouTube and on the Collider Sports podcast feed. We're going to bring you all kinds of stuff. Hope to hear from you soon.
What's up, guys? Welcome back, Collider Live. We are live in studio, and man, am I excited for our next guest here. Michael J. White is here. Michael, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, it's so nice to finally meet you. I've been a fan for a very long time. I was a big boxing fan for a while, and I remember back in 1995, and the Tyson movie comes out, and I was like, "Well, who's this guy's gonna play Tyson?" Because I was a big Tyson guy, so I was like, "This guy's got to be able to nail it." And man, did you ever! It was
Thanks, man.
that was the movie that I was first familiar with you, and it's funny because recently I heard Mike on the Joe Rogan show, and Joe was giving you like a lot of props on your martial arts and everything that you've done in your career as far as just being a badass in general, and then he asked Mike if you guys had ever met, and I was shocked that you guys had never met before.
No, we met.
You haven't? He didn't remember?
I guess not. We met a lot of times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. During the prepping of that movie, or just afterwards?
No, during the movie he was incarcerated.
Oh, right.
We met several times after, and even times before that.
Okay.
Yeah, the boxing crowd it's a small crowd. It's a small fraternity, and I was my best friend was one of Don King's guys. And,
okay.
You know, we were I don't know. He might have just forgotten. I don't know how.
Right, and who wants to challenge? Who wants to challenge him on it? Because he's such an intriguing cat in general too. But you guys, did he ever give you anything as far as the performance afterwards too? Did he talk about it?
He was very positive.
That's
about
cool.
it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, cool. You're here today. We're talking about Triple Threat. The movie comes out. It's March 19th, and another fight, another mixed martial arts guy, Michael Bisping, is in that film with you too. And Mike's supposed to call in today too, but he unfortunately, I think he wasn't able to do it. So. We're thrilled to have you in here. Dude, tell me a little bit about the movie, man. Because I saw you again. It reminded me a little bit of The Raid when I saw the trailer for it.
That's Eco.
Yeah,
kind of do that.
Yeah,
but yeah, man, it's kind of like they're calling it like an Asian Expendables.
Yeah. I guess
two teams kind of pitted against each other. And it was just it's an amazing thing to work on.
Yeah,
it was kind of like I look at it like there's a bunch of martial art nerds who from different parts of the world who are brought together in this movie.
Yeah.
That's like kind of the movie underneath the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is interesting to me by itself.
Yeah, because when you said the Expendables, the difference with the Expendables is much, and I love all those guys. Those are all legends. At the time they made it, a little harder for them to move.
Right.
You guys are probably
No, we're still doing our thing, man.
It's true, man.
But yeah, man, they have Eco and Tony Jaa, Tiger, Scott, myself, Mike, all together, man. It's really a fun thing.
It just makes it like fun to go to work. I think that's
absolutely.
The thing too, because you're still. When did you start? Because were you a kickboxer? Is that correct?
I did a bunch of different styles.
Okay.
Yeah.
When
I've been
did you
doing it ever since I was 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yes.
Wow. Where are you from originally?
Originally Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, you are. Okay, good. I'm a Queens guy. So
cool.
yeah, okay,
I was
cool.
born in Queens.
Where? What part?
Yeah, Elmhurst.
Oh, cool. I'm based on
Elmhurst Hospital.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're okay. Right away, I knew I was going to like this guy. Are you a football fan?
No.
You're lucky. You had that Giants trade last night. Jesus.
What happens at 7? You go to your parents and you're like, "This is something I really want to do."
Man, I just my best friends in the world were doing martial arts.
Yeah.
My mother would not put me in it, but I would practice with them every time they came home, and then I would go with them to their karate classes and learn everything. I would learn their class and the advanced class.
Just picked it up.
And just practice it incessantly.
Well, why was your mom, though? Was that she didn't want you to get into fights and stuff? She didn't understand it?
Yeah, I was kind of an aggressive kid anyway.
Yeah.
She was like, teaching this kid how to fight?
Right.
No.
Right.
But so I would watch and practice with my friends, and then I got better than them.
Yeah.
And I learned by watching the advanced class. And one day they came over to the sidelines where I was watching and was asking me what the next moves were.
Oh, wow.
And then the instructor by the name of Rex Lee was going, well, who's that kid? Like, why are you asking him? And they were like, he knows everything.
Yeah.
And he was like, and the teacher was like, well, who taught you? I was like, you did. And so he asked me to show him. And, he was like, you know what? From here on, you come here for free.
At 7 years old.
Yeah.
Dude, it's funny because my daughter is taking karate classes now. She's 7. But yeah, the funny thing is because she's also very aggressive is probably the word as well too. And it balances her out, and that's one of the things too that they always say about martial arts in general. Did you find that once you started learning the discipline and everything kind of came through?
Absolutely. I mean, the things that you really learn are later, but I found that. With martial arts, I don't think there's anything better for a kid because what happens, you have a lot of team sports and the success is due to the team.
Right.
But martial arts, all that success is due to you breaking through different plateaus and overcoming obstacles.
Yeah.
And when your brain learns that just through being tenacious, you can overcome obstacles. That's a life lesson.
Sure, and especially when it comes to competitive, it's also like a survival thing too, because it's just you in there.
Well, yeah, but it's really it comes down to your mindset.
Yeah,
and when you strengthen your mindset, you can do anything.
Yeah. So, Rox, I know you had a couple questions as far as like the.
Well, yeah, because it's interesting where you guys love him from. I'm recently loving Arrow, and I'm obsessed with your role. Bronze Tiger is a huge deal. How did you find out that the show was actually coming to an end, and do you have plans to be part of the final season?
I found out when I was doing an interview a couple days ago.
Oh wow!
Well, what happened?
Somebody mentioned, and they asked me my question. They asked me a question of how do I feel about it? Next year being the last season. I was like, well, I didn't know. But
nobody said anything to you.
No, there was some rumblings.
Right.
When I
but
was
nothing
on
official.
Set. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's things that I just get into the point where Steven is telling me stuff, and I'm like,
Right.
yeah, well, I'm not going to repeat anything that I hear because I don't know if it's real or not.
Right.
So I mean, I have friends that are on the show, and people tend to say things, but I'm not going to take it as gospel.
Is that how it works? Does Stephen Amell run a lot of the set? Because I know he's a producer on it, but I don't know how involved he is with all the other actors.
Well, Steven's very well involved. It's just amazing to meet him. The first time I got involved with the series was the second season. To see the growth from that guy from the second season to now, I thought they were going to kill this dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think he realized how hard they were working him. I was like, who could sustain this degree of action and drama? I mean, this dude was doing a movie every freaking week. But I knew something had to kind of bend a bit. But he's very connected. And as the lead artist is going to be, from their perspective, they're going to see it all. It's like a dartboard or a target. All the other departments represent certain rings.
Yeah.
But there's going to be certain people with the perspective of seeing the entire dartboard. And the lead actor is going to start to see the whole thing and see where it all fits together.
Right.
And that's like the director and sometimes the producers, they have to see the whole board. And Steven is one of these people who can see that because he can see it from other perspectives.
You've done that though too, as well as far as Black Dynamite, right? Because you co-wrote that movie and
well, I wrote
the whole you wrote the whole thing.
I mean, I wrote it with a friend of mine, Byron Mintz. But it was my construct. It was my idea, and he helped me write it.
Yeah.
But it was, the tone, everything. It was a specific thing that I had to really, I had to teach and educate folks how to keep that tone, how to, pretty much, it's kind of because I had experience with teaching acting and writing and all that type of stuff, and the actual experience of growing up with these type of movies.
Yeah.
So my responsibility is to maintain that tone.
You want to be authentic. You want to be authentic to the movies that you, like you said, like you grew up with as well too. But that's why when you mentioned Stephen with so many kind of hats on, and granted, you're talking about a full-on television series when he's doing it all the time.
Right.
But that's a lot of pressure when you're co-writing a movie, you're starring in a movie, and
you can see it that way, but I don't see it that way.
You didn't see it that way. Okay.
No. I when I'm directing, it's less pressure in a way for me because sometimes you could just be in the capacity of just the lead actor, right?
Yeah.
But you happen to know a bit more. You might be more informed than the director is about certain aspects.
Sure.
And you kind of have to, suggest things and make it feel like this was the director's idea. Sometimes you might be more informed all the way around, and it really eats you up when things are going a wrong direction.
Yes.
Right? And so you just have to live with that, and you go, wow, I wish they could have understood this or that. But now, as a director, you're controlling it, and in fact, you're hiring people who completely get it.
Yes.
To this day, I'm telling you, just like one aspect of editing fight scenes.
Yeah.
Do you know how few directors know how to edit an actual fight scene?
Oh, you can tell for sure. Sure, there's certain movies for sure that don't like. That's why everyone talks about the original Rocky, how incredibly because boxing scenes were so different before Rocky came along, and then once you saw the choreography from Rocky, it seemed more intense. I mean, obviously, they were fights and they were movie fights, but they felt like just pure violence. And I think Creed has picked that up, and there are a lot of things like that. But you're right, bad editing on fights takes you out of the movie.
Oh, absolutely. But you can't tell these editors that because they've edited a lot of things. It's kind of comparable to say Flashdance,
right?
Okay, or if you have somebody who doesn't know how to do it, you have to use cuts, right? You got to look at Jennifer Beals' face and then cut to her feet.
Right.
Well, if you got Fred Astaire, you don't have to do that. You just shoot him. Right,
Yeah.
But so the industry is built up on the Jennifer Beals, the people who don't know how to do it in full frame, and so editors have had, experience upon experience and successful experiences, cutting that way.
Sure.
And so that's the way they cut things for people who don't know how to do it on screen. And so they're gonna. It's almost like they get paid by the cut.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Well, then it
and
doesn't
so
seem
in,
like that's...
yeah, in their language, cut.
Right. Well, it doesn't seem like that's the case then with Triple Threat, because Triple Threat to me, you just from the trailer alone, you can tell that
there's a difference there.
Big
You know, and with all those martial artists, we're not gonna let.
That's what I mean.
We're not gonna let them cut
This is not a flash dance
They're
situation.
gonna get their asses kicked.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so-
Do you see that a
yeah.
lot though too? Because I mean, granted, these are all pros and guys that have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
But even like when you look at, like, I was watching, because I watched Creed 2 again the other night with my wife, and we watched like the scenes, and they showed a featurette when Dolph Lundgren and Stallone were choreographing Rocky 4, and they were like beating the shit out of each other, right? And do you find that is there people still slipping kicks and people getting cracked in the nose, and or is it less of it because there's so many? Yeah,
that almost that happens so infrequently with people of the caliber of Tony Jaa and Iko and Scott.
Yeah,
Scott. And I mean, Tony can do a front flipping kick, hit you in the head, and just tap you.
Yeah, wow.
Like somebody getting your attention.
Yeah.
He's got that kind of control. But on the same token, there's sometimes we slip.
Right.
Well, see, one of the things is like, say, when Tony and I did a fight scene in Skin Trade. Well, there's a few times he slipped and he messed up on the choreography and actually completely punched me. But the fact is, being that he's so much lighter than I am, him hitting me does not register. I mean, doesn't hurt.
Right.
I'm used to sparring big guys, so it's
and
just
he's
something
not
laughable.
he's not trying to knock you out.
Well, even if he did, I mean, it's still people don't understand. It's like when a smaller guy hauls off and hits a bigger guy. It's sometimes I encourage him to hit me for real because I can take it, and it's really, if I'm used to fighting guys who are 250 and they're hitting me, and then Tony is 150 pounds, it doesn't translate. And on film, you think it might, but like in the real world of fighting, that really it doesn't hurt. It's not going to affect a bigger guy. So I want to take full on kicks from Iko and things like that because it's going to look better.
Right.
It's going to look real.
Right.
And so I can react to it better. But on the reverse, I can't do that.
Yeah.
A bigger guy, like you can break someone's ribs pretty easily. So for me, I have to make a special observance that I punch fast enough to look like it's going to hurt, but absolutely, like if I'm going to connect to the body, to control that at the last second. But you can get away with that. Like, when you're talking about Rocky, I mean, the Rocky movies, it was a little bit different. Like Dolph Lundgren was a Kyokushin guy, which is another style that I did, and it was one of his first movies. So there's times where he hit, famously, he hit Sylvester to the body and broke his ribs.
And then Stallone says there's a one shot when he hits him in the head, you see his head rattle. He goes, dude, I felt that for months.
Yeah, Dolph knew, full contact. And so he wasn't versed at controlling, the punch. And so it's different. So now, and I'm sure he, like freaking 50 movies down, and he knows now. But it's different, and back in that day, I'm sure Sylvester could take a lot of people's punches, but the punch from a Kyokushin black belt was, something that he's not used to.
Yeah, man, rattled him a couple different times for sure. But even because you're such a trained martial artist, like you said, you've been doing since you're 7 years old. But do you find yourself when you're working with these guys too? Do you find yourself learning new things, picking stuff up to where you didn't know before too? Like, is that part of the excitement of working with these guys?
Absolutely. Iko has choreographed the best martial arts action films in the last 10 years. I mean, the Raid movies are the new standard.
So good.
And he was the choreographer of those things. And so, man, I'm a nerd, man. We're just talking about how he did these things and the tricks that they used and with Gareth, I mean, they're amazing. So I'm constantly juicing him for knowledge.
Speaking of learning, you've had some amazing teachers and been on some incredible sets. One of the biggest of all time, The Dark Knight with Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
But he was a different person at that time. He wasn't the Christopher Nolan that we all know now. Working with him, did you see the genius already? Was he still trying to figure out how to talk to you guys, or how did that go?
It was completely different than I thought. I thought, oh my God, this guy did Prestige. This guy did. I was like, this guy's a genius.
Yeah.
I get on set and I'm like, how do I talk to him? You know, I'm thinking like that.
Yeah.
And so the first scene I'm doing, I was like, well, you know, do you, you know, I'm with my guys and the scene starts. Do you want to feel like we've been in here for 10 minutes or like an hour? He's like, you know, I didn't think about that. What do you think? I'm like, what?
Right.
And you know, and I'm like, and you know, all my guys have English accents.
Yeah.
But I clearly have an American accent. Do you want us to sound the same? You want me to do an English accent? He's like, I hadn't thought about that. What do you think? I'm like, really?
Wow, yeah.
It was the most relaxed atmosphere ever.
Yeah.
This dude was so chill.
He let you play.
Not only that, the whole set was playing.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was not one tense, serious moment or anything.
Which is crazy when you think of that performance
right.
from Ledger.
Ledger was having a ball.
Awesome.
I mean, we were basically giving him a wide berth and just like not bothering him. And he's the one initiating the conversations, and we're doing like magic tricks and all kinds of silly things. It was like, wow. And the DP, Wally, like, we hold up camera for you know, just trading jokes.
Yeah.
And then when we're done, it's like, oh, let's like, get to shooting. It was just, I don't think I've ever been on a more relaxed stage.
Do you know when that, because obviously it's one of the most incredible performances of all time in Heath Ledger with the Joker. Do you know when that first day when you guys are doing your scene together and he walks in, you go, everyone's gonna be talking about this, or is this one of those things? Because a lot of people know, famously, when he's announced as Joker, I was like, this guy can't be the Joker. Like, the guy from these teen movies is going to be in the Joker, the Brooklyn Mountain guy, is the Junior, and the Joker, and so he does it. Do you know right away that this is going to be special?
Yeah, man. He was, and that's another thing. He was so incredibly chill. It's the first day that he comes in. You know, we shoot half of the day. He's in full makeup. Cameras beside him. He's talking to the boardroom. We break for lunch. I asked the director, so what are we shooting after lunch? And he says, well, we're going to finish up this side of the room.
Yeah.
I said, so do you mean to tell me that Heath has been in hours of makeup and he's not going to be on camera anytime today? He said, yeah. I was like, wow, he just did that for us.
That's awesome.
You know, I mean, that's
rare.
for real.
That's rare, yeah.
And coming from the guy who played Spawn, hell no. No way would I do that.
Right.
I will be in t-shirts and jeans.
Yeah.
If I can get, if I don't have to be, you know,
you'll
marinating
give
in
him
my
the
own
line.
juices.
You'll
you know?
give him the lines, but you're not going to dress up.
Yeah, I'm like, imagine I look like this.
Right.
See this picture? That's what you're talking to.
Right.
And action.
Yeah.
You know.
You talk about him having so much fun with it, but also being so deep into it. And obviously, there's been a lot of talk about after he did pass away, how much effect this character had on him. What do you think about that?
That drives me up a wall because people want to write the story that this dark character consumed him. Drives me up a wall.
Yeah.
That's people's imagination. That's the story they want to, you know. No.
You didn't see
not at
that.
all.
You just saw a dude having fun.
This dude had fun. Like, you know, and cut. So anyway, it was just like that. And you could see his playful character. Because that thing with the when he comes out of the examination room and he does the hand sanitizer, you know he's playing. You know he just did that for a goof.
Yeah.
Or the thing when he's
I was going to say, even when he couldn't start the detonator.
You know, he's having a ball. He's modulating his voice. He's even asking us, the guys who are day players and everything else, you know, what do you think? He would do a voice modulation, and one of the times when we were face to face, he does this really, growly one that kind of is Tom Waits-ish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, man, I like that. He asked me, what did I think? And I'm like, man, I like when you do that kind of.
That's cool.
That one. And he's like, you really think so? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, my God, this dude's asking me. I mean, that doesn't usually happen. But on that set, it was so incredibly chill. That was the environment. Right. So, and the truth of the matter is, he passed away when he was doing Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Right. It wasn't even this movie. Right. You know how much longer that was? So, yeah, it's...
it's people just trying to.
Yeah, it's a narrative they want. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And then you mentioned Spawn. We had Todd McFarlane in not too long ago, and so Spawn. What I thought, because because you see a guy who's doing a lot of research, a guy who's doing with character, even those questions you're asking Nolan. You got all these. So. Had you watched the HBO series that obviously in preparation for going into the movie, reading the comics, doing all that, learning the backstory of the character?
I wanted to dive deep into it until I realized, damn, I'm doing the birth of Spawn.
Right.
I don't need to know what's happens on Spawn 22.
Right.
I'm basically Spawn is Al Simmons. No matter how much I want to get to know what's going on.
Yeah.
He's Al Simmons, and this is the birth of him, and this is chronicling when he is learning about himself.
Yeah.
So that's as far as I needed to look. Anything beyond that would be taking away from it. You can't play the effect.
Right.
So I had to be that human being and connect with human beings who would be in that same situation. So that's really, the extent of really what I had to prepare for.
When you go back and you think about that movie in general, what are your overall thoughts on the film? How it came out? How your performance came out? Like, what do you think?
Unfortunately, I was privy to the first cut.
Okay.
Yeah. Fortunately for me, but the first cut had something like 71 special effect things in it, and the story was absolutely intact. You see, my character starts off, in a loving relationship, and you see what his home life is and why he wants to get out of doing the things he's doing.
Right.
And then there was so much editing and so much change, so many changes that the director, who's a special effects guy, I believe by the end of it, there was like 414 special effects shots. And he was excited about doing special effects shots.
Right.
And the story elements just suffered and suffered. And there were no longer any scenes that depicted, Al Simmons' early life.
Right.
So I felt like
Which is kind of the crux of what it's all about.
Exactly. It's about storytelling. And so now I seem to come off as a disgruntled, hamburger face who's trying to I guess jeopardize my best friend's relationship.
Right.
Because now it shows him with my ex-wife.
Right.
And so I was like, well, how does that happen? And so I kind of learned how that happens.
Well, it's funny though too, because and again, I was a big fan of Spawn. And I thought your performance in the movie was incredible. I really did. I think you were the perfect cast for the role. I agree with you though. I think that a lot of the stuff that I loved about like the HBO series and the comic was sacrificed. And inside of that, do you think also because comic book movies were very different back then? And we're just talking about The Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight, Nolan took that shift in movies to show you where you can take it a lot more serious. And Spawn's a very serious movie, but it's still there. But people, the way they perceived comic book movies, different back then. Do you think Spawn version with the stories that were lacking or that were cut out? Do you think that if that movie comes out today, in this culture, it's received differently?
Absolutely, because it doesn't matter. It's about the human element.
Yeah.
And if you take that out, you disconnect folks. It seems to me the people who are already enamored with Spawn, they're the ones that like the movie the most. There are people who just said, "What the hell? I didn't understand what was going on, and how did the devil just reach in and pick up the clown and did this and." And there was you looked at, Martin Sheen and a bomb, you pull a bomb out. None of that was in the movie before.
Right.
The director came up with. I remember he told me, "Wow, I took a look of yours, and then I made that into this, a bio bomb coming out of." I'm like, I don't understand what the hell's going on.
It's just kind of what you were talking about before, to where you said, like, a lot of times you got to try to talk to the director and say, "Listen, man, it's like," you try to massage it a little bit.
At the time, the guy who ran Bob Shea, who ran New Line, he loved the first cut, and he just gave the director carte blanche to just enhance it the way he wanted, and he just took his eye off the ball. And people weren't, I think he learned his lesson. And as a result of that, another movie that was coming out with New Line called Blade.
Yes.
They were all over that director because of what happened with the director in Spawn.
Right.
And so, I mean, I knew that director too, and it was like, Jesus Christ, this is why.
Right.
Because, Bob was, easygoing. It was kind of like, it's a studio, but it was kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of like a family kind of, relaxed atmosphere there. And so they just trusted that the movie that the director was going to bring in for Spawn was just going to be better.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that guy since.
Right. That's.
I mean, he's alive.
I know you. I know what you're saying. Yeah, but that's the way this business works. That's the way it works for sure. So, all right. Well, obviously we got Triple Threat coming out, and we do have some questions for Michael, because how much time do we have left?
We're about ready to wrap it. But I got to ask one, because a lot of the fans here that follow Collider Live, they're great, but Black Dynamite 2. That's what they're asking about.
All right.
Is there any kind of movement? Is that something you want to do?
Well, I've got something in that vein. I've got a few things in that vein. One is going to be coming out that I completed,
but not a direct sequel.
Not a direct sequel.
Okay.
But there is something from the world of Black Dynamite that's coming out, and then we'll talk about kind of mounting up the familiar later.
Awesome. Well, listen, man, I could talk to you for another hour. But thank you so much for coming in and joining us today. The movie, guys, once again, is Triple Threat. See it March 19th. Michael J. White, thank you very much, and please join us again when Black Dynamite 2 comes out, or whatever else you're working on.
I look forward.
Pleasure to have you. All right, guys. So when we get back from the break, we're going to wrap up everything we were talking about here today, and I got some more talk on this stupid giant straight.
No, it's not late to the party. That's actually from Obi-Wan Kenobi. You didn't know that? Well, you should, and now you do. Jedi Council. What is it? It's about Star Wars, obviously. It's Jedi Council. Every week, the latest and greatest in Star Wars movie news. Myself and Ken Knapsack, that's right, the pit boss himself. We have a guest on, and we talk about everything happening in the world of Star Wars. If it's the movie news, the TV news, canon news, comic books, games. And then we take questions from you guys on Facebook and Twitter. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing it for a couple of years now. I'm still excited talking about it. The fan base is coming together again. I believe it is. I think it is. I hope it is. And we're talking Star Wars, so we'd like you. That's right. All of you. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, come on over and join us every Thursday for Collider Jedi Council here on Collider Video. And we have an Apple Podcast feed or Podcast One, wherever you want to go if you listen to podcasts. And not only do you get Collider Jedi Council every week on Thursday, The Rule of Two with Mark Fernandez and Mark Riley, that's on every week. I believe it drops on Wednesday. It's on one of these days. It's a good show. You should listen to it. I like it. I listen to it. I haven't listened to it once.
Hey guys, Ryan Satin here from ProWrestlingSheet.com. And if you're a pro wrestling fan, which I hope you are, even if it's in secret, then you should be checking out Wrestling Sheet Radio Weekly. We've got a bunch of shows in the podcast feed. We've got weekly recaps from myself and John Roca, which you guys will probably know from the Collider family. That's for Raw, that's for SmackDown. We've also got the weekly roundup of wrestling news. It's a show I host called Wrestling Sheet Radio with Jamie Iovine and Elijah Bates. And we've also got a bunch of other stuff in our YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. So check it out, subscribe, and I hope you guys dig it.
Hey guys, Perry here to remind you to tune in for Collider Movie Talk every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 4 p.m. PT Live. We are live. We talk about movies. We answer your live Twitter questions. It's so much fun. We talk about everything from box office to all your favorite superhero movies. We talk about horror on a good day for me, and who knows, maybe even a spoonerism will happen. I don't know. That's what happens when you watch Collider Tuvi Mock, right? Are you going to watch? You better watch. Go watch now.
What's up, Collider fans? If you are a fan of television and you want to watch a guy that looks like me and a guy named Thad Williams talk about TV every single Friday, subscribe to the Collider channel. Collider Podcast is where you can find the video. We have our own iTunes feed, hashtag Collider TV Talk. You can find on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts and you listen to them in your ear holes. That's where Collider TV Talk comes at you. We talk about TV news. We talk about shows we love, shows that we don't love, and most importantly, we don't read any books because TV has nothing to do with reading. We also have a show called Hypothetical Questions with myself and Roxy Stryer and all kinds of reviews right here at the Collider Podcast channel and the Collider TV Talk feed. Subscribe, rate, like, tell your friends, tell all your friends and tell their friends, and before you know it, it's a pyramid scheme of television. I'm Josh McCouga. You can see Thad Williams and myself along with Roxy Stryer and all the Collider personalities all the time right here on Collider TV Talk. As always, put down the book, pick up the remote.
Hey guys, Riley here, and let me tell you about Rule of Two. Rule of Two is a Star Wars podcast hosted by myself and Mark Fernandez. It drops on the Jedi Council podcast feed every Tuesday. You like Star Wars? Good. I like Star Wars. And you know what we do? We talk Star Wars. And not only talking Star Wars, we celebrate Star Wars. We gave the Golden Lightsabers the best in Star Wars, best picture, best opening theme, best crawl, and all that good stuff. We celebrate the games of Star Wars. We do everything in the Star Wars universe with a lot of debate and a lot of discussion thrown in the middle. So make sure you check out Rule of Two every Tuesday on the Collider Jedi Council podcast feed, on iTunes, and later on Collider Video. That's Rule of Two with Riley and Mark Fernandez every Tuesday. And may the Force be with you.
That's good. I like what you did there, Cody. We are back. Thank you so much to our special guest, Michael Jai White, for joining us in studio. Once again, the movie's Triple Threat. And that was a cool dude. That was a very cool dude.
What a great guy.
Awesome.
Great
So
guy.
cool.
It was, the stories were amazing. He was so open and honest. And I love people like that who are just like, he didn't say anything that like against taking shots at anybody. He was just honest. He talked about how the director of Spawn, he just had his own vision
Jennifer
for it.
Beal.
It just didn't work. All that stuff was so good. So re-listen to it if you had a chance. But the music played for a reason. Joining us from Pro Wrestling Sheet, he is here. He is not here to talk about wrestling though today. It is Ryan Satin. Hello, Ryan. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Now,
much more appropriate music would have been some sort of love music.
some love thing.
Yeah.
So,
What's happening?
So listen, this is really funny. So Ryan and I have just kind of we kind of hit it off since he started working here, right? We both like wrestling. We have a lot of things in common, and we
It's
shoot
a bromance. I get
yeah,
it.
we shoot the shit with each other. We have good conversations with each other, and he's been breaking my balls for the last 2 weeks. He's just like, I'm just saying, if you need somebody to talk about Temptation Island,
Because Christian's whole thing is he comes on here and he goes like, "Oh, Collider Live is a place to talk about anything.
It
We talk
is.
about anything." And so, yes, I love professional wrestling, but I have a special place in my heart for reality television as well.
Trashy reality television.
Trashy reality television.
Rock of Love guy? Yeah.
Come on, of course.
Yeah.
All those Flavor of Love, Rock of Love,
Yeah.
Megan Wants a Millionaire.
The
all of them.
masked singing
What the
contest.
hell?
Megan Wants a
Wait, what the hell is
Millionaire?
Megan Wants a Millionaire?
That
What
was
is
the short-lived one with one of the girls who was on Flavor of Love, but
Yeah.
then one of the contestants killed his girlfriend, like chopped her up into pieces in real life. And then there was like a whole police investigation. He like carried her out of a hotel room in a briefcase, if I recall. And then the show got canceled because
Really?
Because
No
they didn't vet that one of the guys on there was such a terrible person, and he killed someone. It was early on in my time at TMZ, and I remember we got a tip that like his car was in a parking lot.
Wait,
and like
who's Megan?
She was like a contestant
Megan
on.
B.
No,
or
Megan
something
Wants
like
a
that.
Millionaire is not a contestant. If
No,
it's the
she
name
was
of the
the main
show.
girl.
She was a contestant on Flavor of
Flavor
Love,
of Love,
and then it
Megan
was a
B.
spin-off.
Yeah, it was
And
a
then this
spin-off.
guy was one of the suitable bachelors.
God.
Correct. Yeah.
Terrible person doesn't begin to.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It was one of the craziest stories.
Can I
That
ask
is
a
crazy.
clarification question?
Yes.
How do you chop somebody off and fit them in the briefcase? Like, what do you do with
I
their
don't know.
skull?
Oh. I don't know if I want
Roxy?
to.
I don't want an answer.
I could fit a skull in a briefcase. Oh, did I say briefcase? I'm sorry. I meant a
suitcase.
A suitcase.
Oh,
not
okay.
a briefcase.
Because you
tough.
cannot fit a skull in a
You
briefcase.
cannot fit a person in a briefcase. That's much more
Gotta be a
difficult.
little
I was just thinking, wow, that person like Blender.
Yeah.
But you,
straight sledgehammer
Roxy
status.
Stryer.
I would eat a human.
I know
But,
you would. You just
that went
dark.
Yeah, that got dark. I didn't mean for that to happen. But you guys asked me what Megan Wants a Millionaire was.
Well, we are going to get into that, and I want to talk to you about. Let's talk about Temptation Island first, because there's another conversation you and I had in the office that I'm curious that how the two over here would feel about it too.
Okay.
There's a conversation that we had about Chris Benoit.
Oh,
that's preparing you for later.
Okay.
Later. But we'll talk about that. I want to talk about this first.
Okay, so basically,
everyone's talking about this show.
Yes.
It was a Hulu British show, right?
No,
or a
no,
British show?
it was a show on Fox like in the 90s,
Oh.
or maybe like early 2000s,
Maybe.
something like that.
Give us the premise.
So basically, the premise of Temptation Island is there are four couples who are on the verge, or they're at a crossroads in their relationship.
They need therapy.
Either they're going to break up,
Yeah.
or one is ready to take it more seriously. There's all sorts of reasons.
Okay.
So they go to this show and they go to an island and they get split up for
Where is the island?
a set amount of time. I forget exactly where it is, but it's beautiful. The beautiful location.
Care?
Yeah.
They're right on the beach.
Hawaii?
They're right. I forget
I think if
exactly.
it was Hawaii, you would have said that.
Fire Island.
I forget exactly where. I want to say Mexico because that's cheaper for
good
production
island.
purposes.
I love the island.
That's usually where they do that
Paradise
kind of
and
stuff. But I forget off the top of my head.
Fine.
But they go they get split up for a set amount of time, right? And the guys are in a house with a bunch of attractive, horny women, basically.
New women. No,
just
okay.
hot,
I
horny
see.
women.
I see.
And the women, same thing. They're put in a house with a bunch of like
Dudes.
hot dudes that are trying to hook up with them, right? And it starts off where they're all very much like no. But it rapidly progresses into bad things happening. And the main reason is because
what's the worst thing that happened?
so the last thing I'll say about the premise is each week at the end of the show they have a bonfire, and the guys and girls separately have a bonfire with the people who are in a relationship, and each person gets to see one 30-second clip of what their significant other is up to in the other house.
Oh my goodness!
And so it progressively gets worse, the things they start to see, and it fires up the other person, so then they start doing things to kind of get them back. It's been crazy. So
What an evil show.
The worst two things, there's two, it's very evil. It's literally the most guilty pleasure show I've ever watched because so many bad things are happening. There's one specific thing. There's a guy named Evan. This is what everyone's talking about. There's this guy named Evan.
And he's one of the people who's in a couple? Or
Yes.
Okay.
He's one of the people in a relationship. Been with the girl for, I want to say 5 to 8 years, something like that. And they have a house, or they have a place together, dogs, all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying. Oof.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he is just straight up having sex with another girl.
But is he allowed to? Because I'm assuming if you're
No.
going on the show, your partner's go sleep with somebody.
So it's said for him that they set rules. Like, you can talk to girls, you can hang out with girls, but you can't hook up with girls. He's not only did he, and they showed it,
Right, and
which
this-
is crazy because it's on cable
Right.
TV.
Now this imbecile knows that he's on television, right?
He knows there's cameras in his bedroom,
Right.
and he's having sex with a girl.
What do you mean they showed it?
Like, you know how sometimes it's really heavily implied, they'll cut to people listening to the door.
You see ass movement.
She's literally I want to say they said I can be vulgar a little bit. I'm pretty sure they said they showed her saying the words "put it in me," and he's and she's on top of him in the bed with the covers over them, but she's like "put it in me," and then gets on top of him and is riding him. You're like, whoa,
Wow.
I can't believe they're
Yep.
showing this on television, and so then he's just straight up, and then. When they go to show her, she doesn't want to see it. They go to show her that clip, and she just closes her eyes while they show it, and she's doesn't want to accept that her boyfriend is doing that. So then the next week they show another clip where he just admits to everyone that he's already asked this new girl to be his girlfriend, knowing that his actual girlfriend who he lives with is in another home.
How attractive is this other girl?
But she's pretty hot. But
Is his girlfriend hot?
No, not really. No, but
You
what's
just
wrong with the world.
explained to dudes.
That's so. I hate everyone.
And you're watching it, and you're just going
stupid. Right.
oh,
So stupid.
and then there's a girl
What
doing
an
it
idiot.
too. There's a girl doing it too, where she they live together, have a home together, and his whole thing was he wanted to ask her to marry him,
Right.
But his whole family was like, "Are you crazy? This girl doesn't like you. She belittles you, and so the whole thing was like him going, "No, she loves me. I'm gonna take her on the show as hot news to prove you all wrong." And she's just like hooking up with another dude, banging a dude.
Is there a chance that again, because I've worked on The Bachelor for a long time, and I know that when people go that's staged, and I can tell you a lot of times it's not. And I can tell you sometimes that it's never staged, but as much as the producers push you into things and convince you, they're playing games with you.
My dad has a production company for reality TV. Like, I have grown up around reality TV. I know all that thing.
Yeah.
I was on up to Laguna Beach where they needled you into like saying things. I'm well aware how that works. This does not appear that way.
Your dad's company did Laguna Beach?
No. My dad did a bunch of other reality shows for NBC and a bunch of other things. But I was on an episode of Laguna Beach. My roommate Steven was one of the main characters. My roommate in college, Steven, was one of the main characters on Laguna Beach. But they needle you in a lot of those shows. This doesn't feel that way to me when I watch it. It feels really authentic. Of just like, there was one girl who was like on top of a guy, like, and she's like, he's trying to not hook up with her, and she's like, let me sit on your face right now, and you're like,
This is
what?
Wow. You know what's funny? You just
This
did
is a show.
You just did a wave off. The wrestler peeing into the cup in the bar, or whatever she was doing, or throwing up into the bar. That one you
gross.
can watch. This one is just like, I'm gonna sit in your face.
Well,
No, thank you.
I don't
I started
understand.
I started putting myself. I don't know why it started to affect me because I'm like, it's like they're living together. And I
Right.
started flashing it to my fiance,
If
and I'm
you
just
guys
like,
went on this
and
island,
I
right.
started to get sick. I'm just like,
Dude,
Why would
I'll
you
tell you what,
do it?
It doesn't bother me. You know why? Because my wife and I are too exhausted. We wouldn't even. It's like the second you should have stand and be like, "Hey, I want to sit in your face. You can do me a favor. Go sit on the toilet." I am watching television right now.
Remember, I said that yesterday in the episode that aired last night. It was the first time they had to spend 24 hours with the person that they liked. They had to like choose. Okay, last one of all the guys in the house. And you got to spend 24 hours with the person. And I was like, dude, if I had to spend 24 hours with one or two, I would have been like in the bathroom for 2 hours pretending like I was taking a really big dump.
I'm telling these people, listen, motherfuckers, I am here because my kids are finally sleeping and my people are watching them right now. I'm here to sleep. Leave me alone. Go bang Cheryl in the next room and leave me alone. That's basically what I would do.
But right, I do understand your feelings. When I watch it, it's the only reality show that I can remember where I've sat there like this the whole time, like, oh my God, am I watching this? Like, oh my God, this is so bad.
It's a car crash.
100%.
I would probably watch this like a train wreck.
That's why
just like,
Why would you go on the show? I don't understand.
to break up.
The best part,
Yeah.
That's all
to get
that's gonna
laid.
happen.
No, he just said it. He said it. Hold that for real quick. He said it because this is probably a guy who's not that attractive.
no, he's pretty attractive.
He is dating a girl for 5 to 8 years that maybe he thinks he's not that attractive anymore. He goes on television. He sees this girl who's fitted for television, who's a model, and now he's going to be able to tell his friends, "Oh yeah, you saw me. I had like sex with a hot girl." How old is this kid?
He's in his mid-20s probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why not just break up and then bang hot girls?
I don't disagree with you. And that's the point where we talked about before about as far as being honest and then being what most people do.
Yeah.
And they get scared and they can't be honest with people, and that's what happens.
I also think
You're allowed to break up at any time, and you're allowed to bang whoever you want when you're single.
I also think one of my favorite parts of the show is that there's 4 couples, and one of the couples, episode 1, couldn't stop arguing. They were like, before they were gonna get split up, it was argue central. Like they were arguing, and you were watching it going like, they're fucked. Like they're gonna cheat. They're both gonna cheat on each other.
But they didn't.
The one couple who has been so like dedicated to their significant other.
The ones you never thought you were gonna do it.
You thought for sure were gonna break up.
And the reality producers set that up. That way,
100%.
too. Yeah,
But if you're arguing, at least you care about the other person.
right.
It's a weird way of showing it, but like, yeah, I mean, the people who aren't arguing don't give a crap.
Well, you got it out of your system.
I'm glad.
You
Yeah,
did.
watch. This is a non-paid sponsorship. Watch Temptation Island. There's only one episode.
Sounds crazy. I do want to have that conversation, but not right now because it's a longer. We only have 15 minutes left, and it's gonna.
What is it? Tease it.
It's not even a teasable thing. It's a conversation he and I got into. So the late wrestler Chris Benoit who killed his wife and his son in 2007. It was one of the most despicable evil acts probably of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of them anyway. And we just got into a little bit of conversation about it because when I was at the WWE, Chris Benoit was one of the first people I met. And he was very nice to me. He bought me a shot. He was a really nice guy.
A lot of people said that about Chris Benoit.
And it looks like we're going to get into the conversation now anyway. So the conversation...
I led you here.
Yeah, you did. And so the conversation was this. This is the way that I feel about it. I understand Ryan's stance on this, but it's just a conversation that I had. I think that Chris Benoit committed the most evil act that could be committed. I think that he violated the trust of his son. He violated the trust of his wife and their lives. He was a guy that took a lot of shots to the head, concussions and things that it's mentally proven that his head was a mush ball by the time that he passed away or killed himself, and it just he did a very evil act. What I said was, I think this was a man who was a troubled dude who got himself into a state through damaging his brain over and over and over again, who created an evil act. I said, I don't think in his heart of heart, or core, I don't believe he was an evil man. I think he committed an evil act. And I think that it happens that there are people that, for example, if Michael Jackson did the things that he did, again, we're not going to do this whole thing with Michael Jackson again. We've been talking about it for 2 weeks. But if he did all this stuff, calculating from the beginning, that was an evil dude. It was calculated. He was moving. He did evil acts throughout his life and calculated to do those evil acts.
Yeah, but it's the exact same thing as Chris Benoit. I mean, Michael Jackson, if that is the case, you can't say that Michael Jackson didn't have mental issues as well.
Of course,
Michael, and from being beaten by his father.
Is the argument that you're saying it happened one time? It
so
was
he's not
a
an evil
singular
person.
event.
It's. I think that for what I believe is that this was a person who committed an evil act, as opposed to an evil person who, like Ted Bundy was an evil person. Ted Bundy was someone very evil
Because he was a serial killer, you're saying.
Because he did these things. There was nothing. It was in his DNA and nature to kill animals, to kill women, to kill. He was an evil person and it wasn't like and he pretended he was nice. He pretended he was a good guy to shade himself from being this evil human. As where Benoit, once again, I believe, from everyone that you talk to, every worker that he ever worked with, people that
Not every one of them.
a lot, a good majority of people. From when I was working there, from people that I know, from people still to this day, say for him as a person, he was a pretty good guy.
The ones he was friends with, but the ones who he wasn't friends with talk about how horrible he was backstage, the ribs that he would do, how crazy he was, how it was very clear that he had mental issues way earlier before.
Okay,
earlier than prior to killing someone, killing his family. And my argument was just that. All that aside, you could be a very nice person your whole entire life. If you kill your wife and kid, I'm gonna think you're an evil person. I'm sorry. I told Christian he could be as nice to me as a coworker as he wants. If he were to kill his family, I would not be going out there defending them, defending Christian, saying, "Well, Christian was a really good guy. He talked about movies all the time.
No, I know.
I love discussing movies and wrestling with him."
And you wanted to know where we fell on this argument.
Yeah, in a second. But what I think, again, I agree with Ryan that it was an evil act, and he ended his legacy by going out to where you rightfully so, are going to have that perspective of people saying that was an evil dude. My point is, I don't believe in his core. I think that there are evil. Hitler was evil from his core, evil. And I think that maybe towards the end of his life, maybe it started to fill in, and that's who he became. But I think in the heart of heart, my personal belief is, and the person that I met, I wasn't hanging out with the guy all the time, so I can't speak too much of it, but the guy that I met, that to me didn't seem like an evil person. It was someone down the line that did the most, and if he's in hell right now, to be honest, if he is, and if that is this, he deserves to be because of what he did. And I'm saying.
It's just, I'm sure there's a lot of people who thought Harvey Weinstein was a really nice guy too because of all the things he did for their career.
See, that's different.
And there's every evil person you could say that about. You could be like, well, look at even R. Kelly and Michael Jackson. Look at all they've done for their communities. Look at all they did.
But the argument that Christian is making, and I haven't even said where I stand yet, but the argument Christian's making is that this was a standalone incident as opposed to people you just threw in: R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, Harvey Weinstein. These were people who, for their entire. Well, I'm not even talking. I think what you're saying is, though, it wasn't one time, it wasn't two times, it was their whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
It was their whole life they were doing that, as opposed to
someone whose head was a mush ball by the time that it happened. So where do you guys stand on it? I'm curious.
I think that, it's interesting because in the Mustang, the movie that I just watched, there is one scene where they're talking to all of these people who had killed people, and they say, how long did it take you to decide to kill that person? From the time you had the thought to the time you murdered them, how long was that? And it was 5 seconds, 15 seconds, 3 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. A ton of people who have been interviewed also in documentaries say that something just flips and you become a different person. That being said, I do not care. You murder your wife or your kid, you're an evil guy.
Okay.
And because I'm not capable of that. And if you're a good person, you're not capable of it.
I guess that's my point. My point is, if I hit you in the head with a chair 1,000 times, right? And your head, right now, the person you are today, you're not capable of that, right? And you started doing steroids and things, again, and these are not excuses. What I'm telling you is that the chemicals inside of your brain would change. You'd become a different person. Not to say you would kill
based on choices I made, though, right?
Right. Choices you made. But
it's not like he was kidnapped, tortured.
No. Again, but taking steroids and taking shots to the head, although stupid, does not make one evil.
No, but it does make it his.
It makes his choice.
Yeah.
Again, but not evil choices, just choices.
Murder, no matter how many times you do it, it does make you evil.
I agree with that action.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree that any murderer is evil. I think you murder your wife and your kid, you're evil.
If you do it again, because what I'm telling you is the chemical balance inside of your head would be significantly different. It doesn't mean that you'd kill somebody. It just means you'd be a different person. Same with you, same with me. You would all be different people. Now that does not mean that your choices would lead you to killing someone. It just means that your head and the person you wouldn't know what decisions that you would make. You don't know. I would believe that you would be the type of person that would kill somebody, but you don't know the type of things as far as those choices, those bad choices that the person made that led into what he did. Now, I don't know him well enough to say that he was a great super guy. I just know the guy that I met a couple times. Ryan knows what he's heard from other people. So I just think my philosophy of it is this is someone who ultimately did a very evil act. His legacy went from you not knowing enough about him. That's a fucking evil dude.
Yeah.
That's a guy that did an evil act.
This person in the chat brings up OJ, and I feel like that. You don't think OJ is an evil person?
OJ is definitely an evil person, but again, OJ was one of those guys too. Again, with concussions, I think is a good call too because of the same thing. But OJ had a lot of different anger issues. Was beating women for a very long time. Had a lot of things that he was doing throughout his entire life.
Nancy before she died. Yeah. Nancy Benoit, who he killed, told people if something happens to me, Chris, it's Chris.
Right.
She warned her family.
That was my point. The warning signs were there. OJ, warning signs. Plenty of warning signs. Those calls
throughout his life.
We're
talking about the last year while all this shit. I'm just saying again.
But there's a warning sign that I would have taken very seriously.
Yes,
I mean,
of course
when
you should have taken
people
it seriously.
say something along the lines of, "If I die, it's that person."
Right.
You gotta. Okay,
and I don't think there's not one person at this table that's disputing that. What I'm just saying is how we got there.
By the time that he did that, do you think he was an evil guy?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that
so you do think he was an evil guy in the end?
I think that
maybe not always.
I think his mush brain turn his thoughts into just pure darkness, destruction, and evil. And I think that's. I'm just telling you. I'm talking about the core of a human. I think
but the core was gone.
The core was gone at that point, and I am not disputing that.
Yeah.
And I don't think we ever had a conversation where we disputed that.
But it's not just an evil act in the end. He was an evil person in the end, and it doesn't mean that he always had been. Is your point?
That's kind of my point.
Yeah,
that's my point. Is that and to where Ryan thinks that was always there.
Well, and I had trouble. People, and this is just me. I'm not going to fault other people for it, but I have trouble separating the art from the artist or whatever, and so for me it's hard to now praise Chris Benoit matches, and people still do because he was prior to this happening considered one of the best wrestlers of all time.
Right.
So I can't go back, but I cringe when I see other people do it. That's me personally. I cringe when I see people go like, "Oh, this was the best." I love Chris Benoit.
Well, the funny thing about that is that I can't watch his matches anywhere either because look, you got to remember that
You're a dad.
I pride myself. My big thing is my family. Like my wife and my kids are my everything. And so for me, that is the ultimate act of. You're the guy. You're supposed to be the one who protects them from everything.
Yeah.
I just can't picture, Christian. There's no amount of times I could hit you in the head. There's just no amount of times that you do that.
You also got. I mean, it's one of those things.
Him taking himself out. There's an amount of times you could hit me in the head where that I could see.
But it's also these things. I don't. It's a much longer conversation. But thank you for having it. I appreciate it.
Now I'm gonna get so much shit from people on Twitter for the next.
For what? For the Temptation Island thing?
Oh no! For the Chris Benoit thing, there's a huge portion of the wrestling fan base who hates me because I don't praise Chris Benoit because I think he's an evil person.
Yeah.
They all feel differently.
Well, I mean, I think I understand your point of view. Not one time do we have that conversation that I say to you, "You're being irrational. You're being ridiculous."
Yeah.
I understand it.
Yeah.
I just think
I
once
understand
again,
both of yours.
Yeah, and I understand yours too. I get
Yeah.
it. I get the other side of things.
Right.
I do understand it. It's
Yeah.
just
All right. Well,
personally.
listen. What a show.
What a show.
A lot of different things happening today. Giants are still idiots. Stupidest trade of all time. But that's it. Thank you to our guest Michael J. White. Thank you to our guest Ryan Satin. Check out Pro Wrestling Sheet. And we are going to be back tomorrow. We're going to guest tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a couple guests. We got Matt Nost stopping
Matt
in.
Nost?
Matt Nost, and then Carol Montgomery is standing.
She's calling in.
Calling in.
Fantastic. I love it. All right, so make sure you check that out. Get those tickets for the free-for-all. That's right, March 23rd, 2 p.m. at the Globe Theater, downtown Los Angeles. And you can also get the tickets for April 13th in Chicago and May 18th in Houston at the schmodownlive.com. Subscribe to everything here on Collider, Collider Video. Subscribe to all our podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, the whole deal. We'll see you tomorrow.